WDRS Talk is made possible by the Anchor app. If you've never heard about Anchor, it's the easiest way to make a podcast. It's absolutely free and allows you to make your own podcast on your phone or on your computer. Anchor will also distribute your podcast on platforms like Spotify and Apple Podcasts. You can make money from your podcast as well without a minimum membership. It's all you need to make a podcast in one place. So, go and download your Anchor app for free, or you can go to anchor.fm to get started today.
You're listening to the Wolf's Den Radio Show. Talk.
Hey, sisters and brothers, welcome to another episode of WDRS Talk, the Wolf's Den Radio Show Talk. This is your host, your brother from another mother, spreading cosmic love. This is Wolf Hemora, and I want to thank you very much for joining me for another episode. It's going to be a really good one. I had a great interview with this gentleman. And before we get to it, I just want to give my regards to everybody who's listening out there. And once again, thank you very much for your support. I really appreciate it. And some business before we get to some of the daily events that is happening on Earth and how I think about it. Not too much, though. So, first of all, if you are listening to this podcast, wherever you're listening to it, please subscribe to that channel. If you're on YouTube, that's the best place. I would really suggest to listen to the podcast. And please do subscribe to the YouTube page of WDRS Talk. And if you're listening on Spotify, even though I'm not a fan of Spotify, please like the profile page, and also on Apple Podcasts and the Anchor app. And speaking of the Anchor app, if you would like to make a donation to the show to show more support, you can actually make a monetary donation on that site, the Anchor.fm website, or the Anchor app. And there is a donate button on the WDRS Talk page, and you can actually do a one-time payment, or you can be a monthly donor. And a couple of people are monthly donors, and I super appreciate that. I love you guys for supporting the show that way. All that money does go to fees of the streaming service, and of course the maintenance of equipment and all that stuff. You know, it doesn't really go into my pocket. Well, it goes into my pocket and out again, as we all understand what that's about. So anyway, it doesn't have to be a big amount. Could be $1, could be $10, could be $100. I don't care. It's up to you. It's your money. You have the free will to do whatever you please. But know that it is much, much appreciated. All right, so what's happening in the world, man? Shit. It's a fucking war starting to happen in Russia and Ukraine, man. So please pray for those people who are involved. We don't need any more wars. It's fucking 2022 already. And here's fucking Russia saber rattling and all that. I don't know, man. I don't know enough to judge, but it feels like, Russia is the bigger country. Russia is a superpower. And they've been picking on Ukraine for quite a while. And it's just not fair to the citizens, man. I mean, they're the ones who are going to get caught in the crossfire. They're the ones who are suffering. They're the ones who might have to become refugees. And it's not cool, man. And another issue that I want to talk about shortly. I mean, not shortly, but I'll try to make it as brief as possible. But it is a very important cause. And that is the cause of the situation that is going on in Myanmar, in Southeast Asia. As we all know, or if you guys don't know yet, the government is run by the military. It is a military junta, and they have been not very civil to their to the civilians of Myanmar. In fact, they have done a grave amount of violence against them. A lot of citizens have been killed by the military just because they are exercising their freedom of speech, and they got killed for it. A lot of citizens have been killed by an entity of the country that is supposed to protect them. You know what I mean? So if the fucking soldiers are shooting you, I mean, who the fuck do you turn to, man? So anyway, in one of these episodes, I'm going to be doing an interview with a very important person in the struggle for for human rights and freedom of expression and freedom of speech in Myanmar, and to stop this madness that is going on there. So do stay tuned for that. That's going to be a very important episode. That's going to be my first full-on political episode. So I don't really like getting political, but this is very close to my heart because it is part of Southeast Asia, and I know what it's like to witness coup d'états and revolutions. I was part of the second EDSA revolution. I was there from day one, from the start. I saw this. I saw the start of that revolution, and so a group of people needed my help, and I gladly gave it to them. And I'm going to be talking to a very important person who is involved in that fight. And so stay tuned for that. Anyway, aside from that, well, California has lifted its mask mandate. So anywhere in California except LA County, you don't have to wear a mask indoors or anywhere. If you choose not to wear a mask, you don't. No one's gonna hassle you for it. No one's gonna deny you entrance to a store or something like that. But there are a few exceptions, like I said, LA County and places like hospitals, what's this? Public transportation stations, like the bus station, the train station, anything that involves, I guess, the government or hospitals or whatever, and which there are a lot of people in. So public transportation stations and also senior centers, which is very understandable. That's happening in California now. So it's nice to see. I mean, I've been going out maskless, especially if it's outdoors. But if there are a lot of people, especially indoors, where you don't really need to wear one here in Orange County. But if there are a lot of people, then I get a little wary. I always bring my mask in my pocket just in case, because even if I'm vaxxed and boosted against COVID, I don't want to accidentally catch a cold or the flu, which are other viruses, that you can actually get from other people. So it's really at your own discretion. I guess from now on, and then I live, well, not I live in an area where there are a lot of Asians, just like me, and most of them are masked because they just, that's the way we are, man. We just want to be extra careful and not really the issue, the political issue of is masks are masks taking away my freedom. That's not in the mind of an Asian American. That's that's far from it. It's totally health reasons. It's like I don't want to get fucking sick, so I'm gonna wear my mask until I know it's I know it's safe. But anyway, so that's what nice thing about it is that you can see people's faces. You can see if people are smiling at you or frowning at you or I don't know, staring at you. It's like it's nice to see people's faces and reactions and seeing their mouths move when they talk. It's it's so weird, man. It's like all these things that we totally take for granted, and then you see it after not seeing it for a very long time. It's strange. So hopefully, it continues on this path that whatever variants come after Omicron, they just get weaker and weaker and weaker. Because most people are inoculated, and hopefully, a lot of you out there have learned that you have to really boost your own immune system. Don't rely on the medicine when you're already sick. So, boosting your immune system is the least that you can do for your body. I mean, if you eat rich food, I mean, all of that, that's your choice, man. That's up to you. That's up to you, man. But the least you can do for yourself is to really take a couple of tabs or pills of vitamin C, vitamin D3, and zinc every day. That's all you need, man. Just to boost your immune system so that at least you have some sort of defense against the common cold, against the flu, against COVID. And it helps a lot, man. I mean, I'm sure a lot of you are not, pill takers or stuff like that. Supplement taker, pill takers sounds so bad. That you don't really take supplements. But if I would recommend something highly, it would be those three: zinc, vitamin C, and vitamin D3. And then, of course, get out in the sun so that vitamin D3 can be activated, because that's the only way it can be activated is if you get sunlight, then the vitamin D that you're putting in your body is going to activate, and it's going to help you with your immune system. So that's it, man. Boost yourselves so that you don't get the common cold, you don't get the flu, and you're happy all the time. And of course, get your daily dose of CBD. Highly recommended for overall wellness. Even if you don't smoke marijuana, the CBD has no psychoactive effects. You don't get high on CBD, but it will relax your body. It's the best thing. More than having a beer after a long day's work. I get it. Ice cold beer, refreshing, and just lets you loose. But when you get home, when you're done drinking and you just want to relax more and go to sleep really soundly and relax your body, take a dose of CBD, and it'll do the trick. So this is gonna be episode 35. That's another milestone, and I'm gonna go every 5 episodes would be a milestone for the show, because every interview, every episode is very important, and it's a very it's not, I wouldn't say it's hard work, but it is work. It's a lot of mental work. So 35, episode 35. Thank you very much for your support for these 35 episodes. And let's do 35 more and 35 more after that. So anyway, episode 35, it is going to be a punk rock episode. And this is the second punk rocker, Filipino punk rocker, Pinoy punk rocker that I have interviewed. And his name is Buddy Trinidad. And he was he was and is presently the guitarist of the seminal and very they're not really known, but they're so important in the history of Pinoy rock. A band called The Betrayed, and they were active during the maybe early '80s, maybe late '70s, very late '70s and the early '80s. And along with Buddy, the lead singer of The Betrayed, we all know him as the late singer of Tropical Depression, Papa Dom. And he was the singer of The Betrayed when they were in their younger days. And I shall be speaking with the guitarist of this great band that I never got to watch. I was too young. I was too naive when they were playing. I was still a kid. Not even, I mean, approaching puberty, but hey, even puberty age is not enough to go out and watch a punk band in Manila at that time. So anyway, but the stories he tells are really great, and he has gone on to become a award winning pastry chef, and he has stories of on that on that aspect of his life as well. So I got a two for one deal here. I got the punk rock guitarist of The Betrayed and an award winning pastry chef also. So I hope you guys enjoy this one. There is that part of Pinoy rock history that is very, very unreported and almost I would say forgotten unless you were there and experienced it yourself. And that would be the punk rock era of Pinoy rock, which happened in the late '70s to the early '80s, and then it morphed into the new wave bands of the mid to late '80s, and so on and so forth. But this era is very important in the history of Pinoy rock. It's the bridge from the original Pinoy rock guys, Pepe Smith, Wally Gonzalez, Mike Hanopol, the Juan de la Cruz people, Anak Bayan, Edmond Fortuno, John Lupito. This is the bridge from the '70s going into the '80s, and the '80s into the '90s. I mean, this is some good stuff right here. So please enjoy this one, episode 35. Myself talking with Buddy Trinidad of The Betrayed. Enjoy. Buddy Trinidad, a pleasure to see you. Where are you? You're in Seattle, you said?
I'm in Seattle. Yeah, my kids, all my three kids live here. So every Christmas we come down and spend the holidays with them.
Oh, and they're adults already with
Oh
families?
yeah,
Or
oh
okay.
yeah. 32, 29, and 21.
Okay, cool.
Yeah,
But
I started. I
so are
started
you
when I was 12.
are you a lolo already?
No,
No, not
no, I'm
yet.
not.
Okay. Not yet.
Not yet.
Okay.
Not yet.
All right. Well, how long have you been here? Just for the holidays?
Yeah, we arrived on the 15th of December, and we'll be flying out on the 15th of January.
How was your no, what were the protocols coming in? Did you
Uh,
quarantine?
we just had no quarantine coming to the U.S. No quarantine. We just had to have a PCR 3 days before the flight. That's it.
Oh, okay. Oh wow, okay. So it's not that hard.
Not at all. Very easy.
All right. And are you excited to go back home?
Not really.
Not really.
Not really. I mean, it. I mean, from the stories of my friends and everything, it's it's parang panic mode again, and
Right.
but that's when the creativity of the Pinoy kicks in, when they panic.
Yeah, you're right about that.
You
How
know.
about there in Seattle? How is it? It's chill out naman.
Yeah, sobrang chill. I mean, it snowed. It snowed last week,
Mm-hmm.
so everybody was pretty much stuck indoors. But other than that, everything's cool.
Yeah.
Everything's cool. Yeah,
Well,
galing.
anyway, the reason why I don't know if you've checked out the other episodes of the podcast, but I have been interviewing all these Pinoy rock, I would say, stalwarts of each
Okay,
era. Because I'm so and I'm basically a music nerd. That's why I have this podcast because
right.
I really like
Congratulations.
yeah
Congratulations.
I like to get into the nitty gritty information about everything. So that's what the nerd is, right?
Right.
And of all so far with all the people I've been interviewing, I've interviewed the classic rock guys, Jun Lupito, Sampaguita. I'm
Okay.
gonna interview Gary Perez in a few weeks,
Oh,
and
nice.
then and then I started with the punk scene with Chikoy and with
Okay.
Bobby,
Bobby
and
Balingit.
now Bobby Balingit, and
Okay.
then with you. So
Oh,
I'm getting with all these interviews and all this information and all these stories, I'm getting this totally uh, amazing picture in my mind of how all these stories are interconnected.
Have
Even
you read
though
Have you read this book called Please Kill Me?
no, what is that?
There's a book out there written many years ago. I would say about 15 years ago, 15, almost 20 years ago, called
Mm-hmm.
Please Kill Me. Um, I'm gonna say it was written by Danny Fields.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, Danny Fields. Two of them. There were two of them that I believe wrote the book. Um, and Danny Fields was once a manager of the Ramones. And what he did was
Okay.
he interviewed 200 people. He just interviewed 200 people, everyone from Iggy Pop to all the Ramones and everybody that was from, I believe, late 60s, so like 68
Mm-hmm.
to about 1980.
Wow.
And what he did was he just took all the interviews, and it was all on cassette, Walkman type interview.
Right.
And it just so happened that one person would be talking about a party where they met someone, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then through all his interviews, he would find that, hey, 20 of these people are talking about the same party.
Yes. Yeah.
And it's all from
Wow.
different views,
Mm-hmm.
different backgrounds, and everything. And it was really amazing the way this book came together, because all he did was he took the information and edited it and put it in like one section was like 1969, and it
Mm-hmm.
was MC5 and all of those guys coming out.
Right. The Stooges and all of that.
Yeah, the Stooges and everything. Yeah,
Yeah.
the rise of Iggy Pop and all of that, and then the early
Yeah.
70s. But it was just concentrated in the New York scene.
Okay.
All the personalities were the same. It's like, wait, that was that guy from that, like 1971. All of a sudden in 1977, he's like, you know what I mean? All the
Yeah. Yeah.
connections.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
Really
Yeah.
amazing. All the way up to the end of the book is when Nancy died,
Nancy
and
Spungen
how they pinned her murder on Sid.
on Sid.
But if you read it,
Uh-huh.
Sid was passed out the whole night, the night she was murdered, because he was on heroin.
Shit. So what do you think happened? Someone murdered her and left, or she killed herself,
Well,
or what?
if you read the book,
Uh-huh.
there was a party at the room at the 100, I believe room 100 or 101 at the Chelsea Hotel in New York,
Mhm.
and I mean it's a hotel room, so a lot of people come and going, drug dealers and
Uh,
what have you,
right.
and the witness that wrote this story says that he was there around 4:30 in the morning. There was about maybe 8 people left, and Sid was passed out, and Nancy's drug dealer was hassling her for money. You gotta pay me, you
Oh,
gotta pay me, you
okay.
gotta pay me.
Right.
Siyempre, bangag si Sid. He was
Yeah.
completely out. And she said, we only have $80 left. That's it. Wala na kaming pera.
Yeah.
And then this guy that was saying the story, na parang nagpapaalam na sila, we gotta go, ganyan, maraming salamat. And he witnessed the two of them fighting.
Fighting.
Basically,
Yeah.
when they were leaving, there was just 3 people left in the room. It was Sid, who was passed out, Nancy, and this drug dealer. The next thing you know, Sid wakes up. Nancy's in the bathroom with a knife stabbed to the belly, dead.
Oh shit. Well, I mean that's more believable because that's a drug dealer. Yeah. I mean that's I wouldn't not believe that story.
Yeah,
Because
but the
drug
thing is
dealer,
that, syempre, who's gonna find how are you gonna find that drug dealer?
yeah, of course, yeah.
Pero
Bumalik
the
na sa
close is
lunggayan.
amazing. Please tell me. I advise any music nerd or any music enthusiast to read it
Yeah, I'll check
in
that
terms
out.
of
Yeah.
history and things like that. Really
Yeah,
interesting.
and now that you've mentioned that, the MC5, the Stooges, I only I first arrived here in the US in 2002. So it's going to be 20 years this year. I've been
That's
here
right.
for 20 years in
That's
November.
right. That's right.
And when I first arrived, Tower Records was still open and all of that. So you go to Tower Records and it's just music up the ass, like
Yep.
and then when you watch TV, you have at the time it was VH1. They had the behind the music stuff,
Right.
all these documentaries that were available to me
Right.
that were not really available in the Philippines, because in the Philippines,
Hold on one second. Now let me get rid of the
yeah,
bill.
okay.
Okay, go ahead. Sorry.
So like in the Philippines, the your only access to something like that would be, this is pre-internet, pre-YouTube, nothing. So whatever's there, you're at the mercy of the magazine stores, or like maybe a music store that imports like VHS tapes, of that.
Right.
But so when I came here, it's like, oh my God, all this information. And then I had everything that was classic rock, I already pretty much knew, because
Right.
I'm a classic rock guy,
Right.
But
Right.
then when I started the because then when you're here in the States, a lot of people wear their shirts, of their favorite band.
Yeah.
It's a very common thing.
Right.
So you'd see Metallica shirts, you'd see Slayer shirts, and then you'd see
Kiss.
Ramones and
Yeah.
Kiss, and then I would see Ramones shirts all everywhere, and be like, wow, I know who the Ramones are, but man, I didn't know they were this popular or whatever. So I started putting my attention on the punk rock side of rock and roll, the all of that, and then that's when I discovered the MC5, kick out the jams, motherfuckers.
That's right.
It's like,
That's right.
oh my God, I just my brain just opened up. And then of course, seeing the Stooges, I knew who Iggy Pop was, but I did not know who the Stooges were. I'm like, oh my God, he was more wild than the Stooges. I mean, he started in the Stooges, that's why he's Iggy Pop, and then so many others, like, and then the history of CBGB. There's this documentary that came out in VH1 maybe 10 years ago or more. It's called 1977, and it was about New York in 77, when punk rock, disco, and hip hop became like blew up at the same time.
Yeah.
They were all underground before that, but 77 is when everyone knew what the hell that was. And it was just amazing. And then I developed a deep love for punk rock, because back in the Philippines, punk rock to me was the Ramones, Bad Religion, Green Day, stuff like that.
Right.
And it was
90s
good.
na.
It's good. Yeah, 90s na. and I like it. It's fast rock and roll with the chugging guitars. The gosh, what the Ramones guitarist, Johnny Ramone.
Yeah.
Johnny Ramone style. And
Yep.
then I was like, oh, and then I discovered the connection between the Ramones and Metallica, because James Hetfield and all of those metal guys, they
Yep.
just wanted to play like Johnny Ramone because he
That's
played
right.
that
That's
rhythm
right.
guitar so fast.
That's
You know,
right.
they were, and that's why. And then it's like, wow, okay, now I know why James Hetfield can play like that, because he was trying to copy Johnny Ramone,
Yeah.
in rhythm guitar.
Yeah.
And
And
then,
Johnny plays all down strokes.
yes, oh my God,
Wala siyang
all
up,
down
all
strokes.
down.
No, and that's
That's
the sound. That's the
yeah, and
sound.
that's the technique that everyone was like, parang ang bilis. How can he do that without coming back up? It's all
Yeah,
pababa. So that blew their minds.
yeah, it blew my mind. It blew my mind, because then
Me too. Me too.
because then I would watch footage of the Ramones, and then I would really watch, like research watch, and watch Johnny Ramone, and be like, holy fucking shit, this guy's right hand is unbelievable,
Yeah.
you know. And
Yeah.
then there's this one band that I wanted to talk to you about. I'm not sure if you know them. They're called Death. Okay. And then maybe 10 years ago, there was this documentary that came out. It's called A Band Called Death. I know you're gonna like this. A Band Called Death. And they are three black guys from Detroit. Okay.
Okay.
Two of them are brothers, one and then their cousin. So they're a three-piece. And there was this big news that came out that their first single, a 45, was going for like $800 on eBay. A single,
Wow.
45, $800. So people are like, who the fuck is Death? Who are these guys? So the guy who did the documentary, of course, he had to research and all of that. And what he discovered is these three black guys preceded the first Ramones album by 4 years. That single came out. It's called "Keep On Knockin'," and it came out. The single came out in 1974, and the Ramones' first album came out in '77, right?
No,
So
75.
the first album,
Yeah, 75, 76.
okay,
Yeah.
yeah.
By
So
77, they
anyway,
had two
these
albums already.
okay, right. So, but what they're saying is that these guys preceded the Ramones without knowing what was happening in New York in CBGB, because they were
Because
from
they were
Detroit.
Detroit.
And what they were doing is in the documentary, you should really watch this one because it's really good. They would practice in their house, right, in Detroit. And of course, the neighborhood is a black neighborhood.
Right.
And all of these guys, their neighbors who would pass by their house and hearing them jamming, they would complain. They would, after jamming, they would complain that the guys who were young at the time, they're like, "Why are you playing white boy music, man?" It's like, why don't you play some funk, some James Brown or some Curtis Mayfield or something like that? Why are you playing this rock and roll, man? And then they go, and then in the documentary, when they're interviewing the members, it's like, yeah, we love black music, of course, because we're black, but we also like the Who. We
Yeah.
also like the Stooges, because the Stooges were from Detroit. The
That's
MC5,
right.
they loved the MC5. Actually, and then of course they liked Parliament Funkadelic, which was from Detroit also. So they played fast rock and roll, and when you hear their album, because of that documentary, their album that was dead and buried and obscure, left for dead, was re-released 10 years ago.
Who's the label that released it back
It's
then?
an independent label,
That's
total
why.
independent.
That's why.
Yeah, yeah,
Nahirapan
total
sila.
independent label. And the guitarist of the band already passed away, but he was already playing like that. He was already playing
Right.
even before the Ramones album came out, maybe a year
Right.
before, because that 45 came out in '74. So now people who have seen that, which like Henry Rollins and all of these intellectuals, they're now saying that's like, you know what? If that's the case, then I guess these guys are the ones who started it all.
Right.
They're the ones who started really playing it fast.
Right.
And then it just so happens that in New York, Johnny Ramone was doing the same thing, without
Right.
them knowing each other,
What was happening in Detroit? Yeah.
Yeah, in Detroit. And actually that band Death, they just faded away because they were a black band playing punk. So
There's another band in DC called the Bad
mm,
Brains.
yeah, Bad Brains, yeah.
Yeah. So they're all black.
Hmm. I love Bad
And
Brains. I discovered them here and like, oh my god, I love this band so
yeah,
much. Bad Brains, so
yeah.
grabe.
Grabe. They're so good. They're so good. So good.
So
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 good.
that was the major thing that happened to me in here, coming here to America, was my discovery of punk rock music, and actually accepting it, and championing it as a legitimate form of music,
Right. Right.
and
Right.
whereas before it was just background music for me. It was just Green Day. Oh, you have the time to listen to me. It
Yeah.
wasn't.
Yeah. I mean, I'm
Yeah.
glad. I'm glad um, that you discovered that way.
Hmm.
Um, because a lot of the people from class of '77, a lot of the bands
Hmm.
from the first, they call it waves. Like the first wave was, like the Pistols, the Ramones, the Clash,
Right.
and then they called the second wave was like 79 up,
Right.
and they called it that. Parang the first wave ended when the Pistols split up in
Right.
'79,
Yeah. Uh-huh.
because for them '79 punk parang ended,
Right.
because at the end of '79, so the Pistols had broken up February of '79. Sid was dead also by February.
Mm.
No, they ended in January. They broke up in January. Sid was dead by February, and the Damned had broken up again after their second album in '79. So parang everything was ending, no?
Yeah.
And
Uh-huh.
then the Clash came out with London Calling, which for a lot of Clash fans was not a punk record.
Right.
It was their breakthrough mainstream record,
Right.
So although they gained worldwide accolades for that album, a lot of true Clash fans for them was like, this was their selling out album.
Right.
Parang,
Yeah. 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 Uh-huh.
So
And that's
um,
another and that's another band that I fucking fell in love with here in the States, was the
oh yeah,
Clash.
yeah,
Oh my god.
yeah.
I fucking love Joe Strummer. I love what he stands for.
He's
Oh,
an
dude.
amazing talent that died too soon.
Oh yeah, he really died too soon. And it's
Yeah,
like these days, with the state of the world right now, I have these thoughts na parang, if these people were still alive, like Anthony Bourdain, Joe Strummer,
yeah,
uh, and people like those who are rock and roll, punk rock, who don't give a shit. They speak their mind, and they're always and they're decent people. They're not assholes. When they
yeah.
speak their mind,
They're
it's
really just
you know
out for on how we can make things better for everybody.
yeah. Mm,
They're not capitalist by nature. They're not out for themselves.
right.
So because that's the passion behind punk is,
Yeah.
not necessarily to break down uh, the man, but
Right.
really how can we take care of everybody else?
Yeah.
You know,
How can we how can we shake the fucking man into, like, wake up, asshole?
yeah, but it's never gonna happen. So
Yeah, I know. Yeah, but like I said, the more, because my bass player in my band when I got here is a huge fan of the Clash,
Oh,
So so I already had a reference point. He was like, "Oh, you got to do this. You got to listen to this album and this and this."
second
Don't
album.
yeah, don't listen to the double album first because that's too much.
Uh,
Yeah, yeah.
for me, the best Clash album is the second album.
Which is
Give him enough rope.
Given Off Rope. Yeah,
Give him enough rope. For me, the sound that the that they were able to do for that album was never replicated. Grabe.
yeah. I love the song. My favorite song of the Clash is White Riot. Oh
Oh
my
yeah.
god, dude.
Oh
Oh
yeah.
my god, the first time I heard that song, and I heard it here. That's how clueless I was. I mean, I only knew London Calling and Rock the Casbah, of course, like
Right.
everybody
Right.
else in the world.
I mean,
But then
how
when
old are you, Wolf? How old are you?
I 50, so I was
You're
born in
50.
71.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I
So
thought you'd be a
when
lot. I thought you'd be a lot younger than me. Still, I thought
what's
you'd
your
be in
age?
your early 40s or mid 40s.
No, I'm 50. Yeah.
Okay.
So when all of that was happening, I was still a kid, of course. I didn't need. I was still
Right.
into Voltes 5. When punk rock happened. So, um, but like I said, when I discovered all these things in my, so when that happened, I was in my 40s. It was just another treasure chest of all this music and information, and then when I discovered the Sex Pistols as well, because when I first came here, TNT pa ako that time, eh. So
Right.
I was getting odd jobs, under the table jobs, and
Yep.
the guitarist of my first band when I came here, he was a carpenter. So he would bring me along to job sites, and I would I would assemble the closets, and then with a nail gun, chuk, 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 chuk.
Yep. 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 Yep.
So yeah, and then when we drive home, I would I would ride in his truck, and every time he would just put on, never mind the bollocks, and then I fell in love with the album because that album sounds so galing. The sound of Nevermind the Bollocks is
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
raw. The
Yeah.
guitar sound of fucking
Steve
what's his
Jones.
name, of
Steve
Steve
Jones.
Jones. It's
Yeah.
one of the best rock and roll guitar sounds ever recorded, I
Grabe.
think.
Grabe.
Grabe, di ba?
Grabe. Grabe.
I'd be in his truck, in the freeway, half asleep, and then I would wake up because it's like, holy shit, this album's actually good, you
Yeah.
know. And
Walang
then
tapon yun. Walang tapon. Not a single song.
not a single song, walang
Yeah.
tapon.
Walang
Every
tapon
single
yun.
song is just so good, and then you can
Yeah.
hear, the influence. You can hear like Guns N' Roses in there, dude. There's that one song that it down 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 with the bass intro. Guns N' Roses has a song exactly like that. I go,
Well,
That's where
because
Duff McKagan got his riff.
Duff McKagan started out as a punk rocker.
You're right. Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah, he started his first band was a punk band.
Yeah. So with that, then of course my nerdy brain starts to freak out because I see all the connections. I'm like, oh, okay. So now I know where that riff, that down 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 down, that's from Bollocks, from the Bollocks
Yeah.
album. I forget and who was the bassist of the Pistols at the time? He was
Glenn
the
Matlock.
songwriter.
Glenn Matlock.
Matlock. Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
have so much respect for Glenn Matlock, dude.
Truly a great. He's one of the nicest persons you'll ever meet.
Mm-hmm. Have
Sobrang
you
bait.
met him? Have you met him?
Yeah. I mean, I have a story.
Go.
Or-
Yeah.
In '96. I was working at a restaurant, and one of the hostesses, a friend of mine, called me up at home on my day off and said, "I'm having a party at my friend's house here near Melrose. Can you bring dessert?" I said, and I was like, I didn't want to do it. This was my day off. And I said, finally, she said, "Please, it's for my friends. You're gonna love them. They're rock and roll people." So
Nice.
I said, "How many people?" She said, "Very few, about 20 to 30. I said, "Fine." And she goes, "Buddy, it's for the Sex Pistols." So I said, I'm there.
Oh
So I
shit!
show up.
Wait,
So
what
her
year was this?
friend,
What year was this?
this was 96. This was their Filthy Lucre tour, their
Right.
20th
Yeah, they had a
anniversary.
reunion tour. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, the Filthy Lucre tour. So it was their 20th anniversary. Um, so her friend is this girl. You're familiar with the videos of Robert Palmer in the 80s?
Uh huh.
Addicted to Love, the one where he's in a suit
Yeah,
and then the
with the
models are all in the
sexy
back
chicks.
with
Yeah,
the
in the
with the
band.
guitars.
Right.
Right. So her friend is one of those girls.
Mm.
Okay.
Okay.
And the husband is this guy who's a drummer for this band called Johnny Hates Jazz.
Oh, Johnny
They had
hates jazz. Oh my
they had a
god.
they had a
Okay.
hit in the 80s
Yeah.
called what's it called?
Oh gosh.
Shattered
What was
Dreams.
Shattered Dreams? Shattered Dreams.
That's
Oh my
right.
god, I was high
So
school
I
when
show
that
up at the
came out.
house. Of course, when I show up, I don't know any of this, right? So I show up at the house, and Calvin, the drummer, Calvin Hayes, opens the
Mhm.
door, and I have no idea who he is, right? I mean, I'm
Yeah.
not into Shattered Dreams and stuff.
Yeah.
So I walk in, and then I look, and there's pictures, and I see, and one of the pictures is that picture of Robert Palmer. So I see my friend Pumpkin Pie, and I said, "Well, what's up with the picture?" And she said, "Oh, that's my friend." And she points to her friend, and I make the connection. I'm like, "Wow!" So I walk in,
Hmm.
and I see Glenn Matlock. I see Rat Scabies, who's the drummer for the Damned,
Yeah.
and I
The
see
guy with the
Steve
bad
Jones.
teeth, right? He's the guy
Huh?
with the bad teeth.
Yeah, they all have
Yeah.
bad teeth.
Yeah.
So I see Steve Jones. I get there when I arrive. Paul Cook is leaving, and Johnny Rotten never showed up. So basically, I get there. I bring the dessert, and about 10 of the 30 people have already left.
Hmm.
So anyway, long story short, so we just hang out, and I have everything in my car. I have the albums in my car. I have a camera. I have new Sharpies. I have posters because I'm thinking I'm gonna have these guys sign it, right?
Right, right.
So I'm at the party and everything. So we're talking, talk. So I spent about 15, 20 minutes talking to Rat Scabies, telling him how I love the Damned, and at that point I had seen so many of their shows already because I arrived in '85,
Hmm.
and like my second show was watching the Damned at the Santa Monica Civic. And then finally he had to go. So we're now like less than 10 people at the place, and I'm sitting on the couch next to Glenn Matlock.
Shit.
So I said, you know what? I'm doing it. So I started asking him. So I asked him, so what happened? Why were you, what happened when, why
Why'd
were
you
you
leave?
fired from the Pistols?
Yeah.
And he said, I was there. He said, I wasn't fired. He said, I quit. He said he had had enough of Johnny Rotten and, the whole Johnny Rotten wanted control of everything and everything they did and everything, because Malcolm, their manager, was the same,
Yeah.
forever controlling and all of that. And he said, you know what? I just wanted to play music. I just wanted to write good songs and get it out there, but they wanted, at that time, syempre, there was no internet or anything like that, but they wanted more shock value.
Right. Yeah.
The whole Bill Grundy episode, where they swore
Yeah.
on TV.
On TV.
That's the kind of thing they wanted.
Yeah.
Parang it was straying away from the music.
From the music. Yeah. 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 Yeah.
So
Yeah.
he quit, and then after he told Malcolm that he quit, before any news got out, Malcolm told Enemy, the New Music Express, the magazine,
Uh-huh.
that they fired him because he loved the Beatles.
Okay.
And
Right.
that
Right.
was,
Right.
yeah, that's
Yeah. Yeah.
that's a
Yeah.
very famous quote from Malcolm.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. To
and
keep to keep up with what I don't know. Yeah.
with the shock value.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
syempre, everyone loved the Beatles loves the Beatles in England, di ba?
So he got fired because he loved the Beatles. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
In other words, we don't. Parang
Yeah,
ganon, di ba? So,
exactly. Yeah, and
but
yeah,
obviously not true, but
yeah.
but uh, but truly a great guy.
Wow. Yeah, there was even yeah, I saw, and of course, there was the behind the music of the Pistols too,
Yeah,
and then even Johnny Rotten had by accident he had a Pink Floyd shirt and he said he
I hate,
vandalized it.
I
I
hate. Yeah,
hate Pink Floyd, and that pretty much sealed the classic rock world when when he showed that, because all the kids are like, yeah, I
yep,
hate Pink Floyd too, fuck them. So
yeah. That
yeah,
further separated. That further put that talagang really put walls
right, yeah,
from
that really put walls.
them and these other genres.
Yeah, yeah,
Pero yun
but
ang gusto
yeah,
nila, di ba? Yung shock value.
yeah, but I'm just glad, because when I saw that documentary, that behind the music, I was like, oh man, these guys squandered it. They were gonna be they were gonna be a big band. They just had to stick with it. And of course, Matlock is the songwriter. So once he
Yeah,
was gone, they couldn't
yeah.
write any songs anymore. So
Wala na. Wala na.
wala na talaga.
Yeah.
But
Because
but
ang friends kasi doon was the guys that were really friends was Steve Jones and Paul Cook, the guitar player and the
and the
drummer.
bass player. Oh, and the drummer,
And
yeah.
yeah, it was the three of them, and then Glenn. Johnny Rotten was the last to join the band.
Right, yeah.
So the three of them were friends, right? And then Johnny Rotten was what came in. So he felt,
Hmm.
alam mo yun, parang mga barkada yun, ikaw yung huli
Yeah,
na sumama sa barkada. Parang feeling mo wala kang kakampi because the three of them are together. So
yeah.
he had to bring someone that was his friend. So when
Malcolm.
when Glenn left, he saw an opportunity and he brought in Sid because Sid was
Oh,
Johnny's friend
oh, okay.
who knew nothing about bass. He couldn't play
Yeah,
anything.
he couldn't play. Yeah, he couldn't play, man. And
Itsura lang.
there was in that behind the music of the Pistols, they toured the states, and they went to the Midwest with all the
Oh my
rednecks,
God.
man,
The
and
worst
oh my,
places.
yeah, the
The
worst place
worst
for to
places.
get to go there with that kind
Cowboy
of,
Central.
with
Grabe.
with spiky hair, and everyone still had long hair and
Bell
beards,
bottoms, yep.
and bell
Yep.
bottoms, and then you're coming in there with ripped jeans and spiky red hair. Oh my God, you're just asking for it, man.
Grabe talaga.
Anyway, having said all of that, I want to go back to you, Buddy Trinidad, because you were the Philippines version of, I hate saying the Philippines version of it, but the thing is with my podcast, if with all the interviews I've been doing with all these different eras, I've come to the realization that since rock and roll was invented in 1955, with Elvis, Chuck Berry,
Right.
Lil Richard, and all of those
Jerry
guys,
Lewis, yeah.
Jerry Lewis, Buddy Holly, La Bamba guy, what's his name? Richie Valens, Richie
Richie Valens, yeah.
Valenzuela. Yeah. Every era from the start of roll, the Philippines has its own quote unquote version. When the first guys came out, the guys in Manila, I guess RJ and the Riots, they were the first rock and roll guys to come out who were playing that kind of rock and roll music.
Oh,
That
Pepe.
and then
Pepe
and then
also.
later,
Pepe had
and then later on Pepe, and then Edmond and all of them
yeah.
started again. And then when Sila Pepe started, that was when the Beatles and the Stones were doing their early stuff, the rock and roll.
Right.
And then when it got to psychedelia with Hendrix and all of that, pucha, ayan na si Gary Perez and all of that.
Yeah.
They did their thing.
Saka
And then,
sila Rene and Dennis, hotdog.
yes, yeah, the Garcia brothers, yeah.
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 They were really a rock band. They had a band called Red Fox before Hot Dog.
Red Fox, exactly.
Na heavy
Yeah.
rock.
That's one of my regrets nga is I never saw Rene Garcia live.
Oh,
I never saw him live.
oh my God!
I've seen him play. I've seen him play on video, but I was like, oh man, I really regret
Wow,
not watching him, Hot Dog or whatnot, or whatever form he was playing in.
amazing!
Because yeah. So
Another one
so
that
yun
was
na nga. And
way
then
too
when
early.
when and then when punk rock happened, you guys with Chikoy, with the Jerks and Bobby and the Woods, and then you guys with Papa Dom,
Yeah,
it's you guys were doing the same thing. So and so on and so forth. And then in
right,
my generation, with the when the grunge guys happened there in Seattle, we
right,
were doing the same thing.
right.
You know, so it's just amazing to me that the Philippines has our own quote unquote versions of each era
Actually,
of
it's
rock
true.
and
Yeah,
roll. It is,
yeah.
yeah, it's great, man. And so in my interviews with Chikoy and Bobby, they gave me their perspectives of how that genre of music came about. And there's that one pivotal moment when Howlin' Dave, the DJ,
Yep.
that myth, or not, it's not a myth, it's a fact, but it's already rock and roll legend that his girlfriend at the time brought the Sex Pistols album from England, and he played it on RJ.
Yep.
And so
Delilah.
what where were you when that happened? Let's start
Okay.
there. It's like, well, so wait
Okay.
wait
So
and then before that, were you already a rock and roller before punk rock and all of that?
it happened almost at the same time. Right before I was introduced to RJAM, I was my first love was football,
Right.
and I had met these guys. I was a member of a place called Army Navy Club, on
Yeah.
Ross Boulevard beside the U.S.
Right.
Embassy.
Hmm.
Well, I mean, my parents were. I was 14 years old, and
Sarap ang kain dyan.
yeah. Well, what we would do was at the time uso yung karera sa Green Hills. Karera yung mga
Carrera,
kotse.
what kind of? Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. In White Plains Avenue, right?
Kotse,
Right.
so yeah, so White Plains and things like that. No? So we're
Yeah.
talking 78, 79. So we would, and I was, like I said, 14 years old. So I was too young to drive, but one of my friends that I was playing tennis with, he had a fake driver's license. He had a car, and he was the one that would soup it up and make pustahan and drive. Long story short,
Mm.
I'd be in the car, and my friends would have the cassettes.
Oh,
And they were the ones so they introduced me to Boston. And when I first heard
nice.
Boston, I said, man, I love that guitar sound. That
Right.
fat, that fat sound, okay,
Yeah.
that Tom Schultz
Tom
got
Schultz.
out of
Yeah.
that guitar. And I said, uy, pati. So it started there, and then then I heard Led Zeppelin, fell in love with that.
Hmm.
And then so it was really my friends that was introducing me to, but the cassettes would be mixed. So in the
Right.
cassettes there'd be
Mixtapes.
Zeppelin,
Yeah.
there'd be Boston, there'd be Cars,
Hmm.
there'd be all these other bands from that era, no? Eagles,
Hmm.
all that stuff. Nothing new really,
Right.
but I was really, my ear had this. I wasn't looking for. I guess now I could recognize it, but then not really. I was really looking for sound as opposed to catchy hooks that I could sing
Hmm.
along with,
Hmm.
which is weird. Because there were some songs that my friends really really liked, but for me sounded too parang ang payat, parang it sounded it just didn't appeal to me, even though they could sing
Nipis,
along with it.
manipis.
Yeah, manipes, no.
Yeah.
That's why I really like the Zeppelin. I really like Boston and things like that.
You know why? Because
Um,
they play less balls, man.
and and then I heard, and then my friends introduced me to the Police.
Mm.
And in fact, in Manila, the first album that they released of the Police was the second album, was Regatta de Blanc,
Hmm.
which had Message in a Bottle, which
Right.
hooked everybody right away.
Yeah.
So there, and then my friends told me about, and then I heard about RJAM, and I started, and it was so faint,
Mhm.
so faint. At saka AM nung araw ang puro commercial, grabe,
Okay.
ang daming commercial.
Right.
That was the beauty of FM eh. Nung araw ang FM walang commercial.
Oh, okay.
It was just song after song after song after song after
Oh,
song.
wow.
The DJ would mention the commercial. This is brought to you by
Right.
by Chippy and blah blah blah. Pero wala yung actual
Ad.
commercial.
Yeah.
That came much later on. But then we didn't like the music on FM, so I would wait Sunday morning talaga and wait to tune in on Dante, on Howling Dave, who I found out later on lived down the street from me in Pasay.
Mm.
So I would take my bike and bicycle to his house and hang out there for like 4 or 5 hours, just talk about music.
Nice. Oh my
Kwentuhan na kami,
God.
"Tingnan mo to, plaka. Oy, okay, pakinggan natin." Listen to it.
Oh, sarap. Yeah.
So we would do that, and anyway, but I didn't. Of course, like I said, so I was listening to RJ. Of course, I had no idea that this was going to explode.
Mhm.
And then I was driving down Ross Boulevard one night. This is 1979, and put yourself in my shoes. So I'm a kid of 15 years old.
Mhm.
Now interested in rock and roll,
Mhm.
and the only place to watch bands are at Shakey's.
Right. Yeah.
Okay, so even if you go to Shakey's, the
In
bands will be
Taft Avenue, right?
halos lahat ng Shakey's, halos lahat kasi ng Shakey's malalaki. Wala namang malilit na Shakey's eh.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Almost all Shakey's that I ate at may stage, no?
Right.
And then the bands would play. Lahat ng band pareho, long hair, bell bottom. I have nothing against that, but it was just the time.
Yeah.
That was the time,
Yeah.
right? Yun yung influence nila. So lahat ng tugtog nila, ganon. Clapton, Beatles, Stones, Led Zepp, ganon. It fit. Parang bagay na bagay.
Yeah.
But for me, it was kind of antukin.
Right.
Because walang showmanship. Nakatayo lang sila ron.
It was all musicianship. There's no showmanship.
Right. Which for me, syempre at the time, like wala namang internet, I had no idea what the other. I could just look at the album cover and imagine,
Right.
Boston. What would they look like if they were playing? So I was driving around. Actually, my brother was driving. We were going home, Ross Boulevard, and then I saw this sign on the side that said "On Disco," and then on the side, in neon, it said "New Wave Sounds."
Mm.
And the NU was NU dash New Wave Sounds, and it was Tuesday or Wednesday. So I told my brother to turn around. I said I want to check it out.
Mm.
So I go in. It's like 7, 8 in the 8 in the evening, right?
It's a disco. It's a discotheque.
It's a disco. Of course,
Okay.
I'm 15 years old. I don't know. Never been to a disco.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know what to expect. I just see new wave sounds, and I go in,
Mm.
and it's practically empty. I'm assuming because it was 8 in the evening.
Yeah.
Then I go over to the DJ. He's in a bubble. I knock and I say, "May new wave ba kayo rito? Do you guys have new wave?" And he said, "Sandali lang." For 30 minutes, he plays this amazing stuff. Elvis Costello. I mean, he's just going boom, boom. Just
Wow.
really amazing English beat, and I'm completely blown out. And then he calls me over and he says, "Balik ka rito, Friday. Every Friday, solid new wave kami dito."
Wow.
said,
And and of course it's a disco, so the sound system is big, right?
Yes. So I go back Friday,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm the only Pinoy. It's all foreigners.
Oh,
It's
okay.
all kids from IS.
Right. Okay.
It's all white kids,
Right.
and the music is that. It's all new wave, and it's punk. It's
Wow.
ruts. I'm completely. I'm like, holy crap, right? So um, so now it explodes in Manila.
Mm.
This whole not so much yet, but it's happening now. The record labels are beginning to release, international artists na new wave. They now release the first album of the Police, kasama na meron ng Cars na local
Mm.
and everything. And then on now, since Friday nights are always jam packed, they now move it to Friday and Saturday. Okay, now the house
Mm-hmm.
band at on disco was the Jerks.
Oh, wow. See?
Sila ang
Oh
house
my
band.
God, dude.
Okay, sila ang house band. Now, interesting story. The owner of On Disco wanted Pepe.
Uh-huh.
At that time, Pepe was not doing anything.
Yeah.
Wanted Pepe. Because syempre, may pangalan si Pepe, di ba?
Yeah.
But Pepe, I mean, as you know him, uh, really hard guy to commit to anything.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay? If you want Pepe to play at your gig, dapat you have to pick him up in his house while he's still asleep. And you have to spend the whole day with him
Yeah.
just to make sure that he gets to your gig.
Yeah.
Because the moment he leaves, that's it. You'll never find him.
Oh, yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So, so Pepe goes, okay, sige, pero wala akong banda. So the owner, Sunny Tanchanko of On goes, I have a band. You can be the singer, sila yung backup mo. And the band was the Jerks.
Ah.
And Pepe said, I will never play with those guys. Never. No way.
Wow.
Magbubukas na ang On.
Uh-huh.
No choice. Sige, kayo na lang.
The Jerks na lang.
And at that point, Chikoy, I'm sure he's told you, Chikoy was a folk singer. Still
Yeah.
is.
Right.
So Friday lang yon. Si Chikoy had gigs also Tuesday, Wednesday sa My Father's Mustache, sa Hobbit,
Hobbit House, yeah.
na acoustic guitar.
Right.
Yun talaga yung love ni Chikoy eh. So that's where it started. And every Wednesday afternoon, the Jerks would rehearse at On, and I would just take my bicycle down to
So cool,
On
man.
Disco and watch them rehearse. And little by little, I became friends with them.
Mm-hmm.
To this day. I mean, I have so many pictures of during those days and everything. And then it became so popular that Lupito started to show up.
Yeah.
And syempre,
And June was younger than.
with Lupito
June
and
was-
girls.
Yeah. And he was like your guys' age more than Pepe, right? He was much younger than Pepe. So
Yes. Yeah.
he could still understand that kind of music,
Yeah. And he was, and the guitar player for the Jerks at the time was this guy, si Heli Umali.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you've ever met him. Really, really talented guitar player, but he, such a great guy. Sayang. I mean, he's still around, and I know he still plays. But shortly after, about a year or so later, Lupito took over Heli as the guitar player for the Jerks.
Okay.
But that's pretty much where it exploded, at On Disco for the Philippines.
Wow. So was it a weekend thing? The Jerks were there?
The Jerks were there every Friday and Saturday night.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And of course you were there all the time.
I was there every Friday and Saturday night. The entrance was 10 pesos.
Oh shit.
and I didn't drink, so
Right.
I didn't drink, and the Coke was I think 5 pesos. So my baon was 20 pesos. I bring
Oh,
20 bucks with me.
may five ka pang extra.
But if I brought my bicycle, okay lang. Wala akong I don't
Oh,
hindi na ako
yeah, yeah,
kailangan
yeah.
mag-tricycle.
Right.
Dahil kung di ako nagbabike, nagta-tricycle lang ako papunta from the house.
Right. Man, isn't that
And
great? It's like you're in New York and CBGB is just around the
it's
corner.
down the block.
Yeah. Oh my
Yeah.
God.
Exactly. That's pretty much how it was. Now, when all this was happening,
Mm.
so you're thinking 1979.
Mhm.
1980 comes around, and the nephew of the owner of On, his name's Tommy Tanchanko. His dad was in the Marcos cabinet.
Right.
Was able to get Tommy the son a venue. You know World Trade, where World Trade is
Yeah.
now.
Right. Yeah.
Okay, that area was more like a complex, stage where they would house mga bayanihan and whatever. No,
Oh, okay.
so once a year,
Like a permanent stage.
yes,
Yeah, okay.
yeah,
Like a grandstand. Yeah.
like a grandstand. Thank you. Yes, like a
Yeah.
grandstand. So once
Uh-huh.
a year, it started in 1980. Well, 1980, the first Brave New World concerts happened. It was indoor because it was raining.
Hmm.
So the Jerks played. There was only like 4 or 5 bands that played. The Jerks and a couple others. I can't remember their names. Um, but this became now the single biggest event that all the kids around my age were looking towards.
Right.
Parang, I guess in the 90s, it would be the Music Laban or the,
Or SummerSlam.
yes, SummerSlam. So ito yung
Yeah.
pinaka-SummerSlam
Right.
namin.
Yeah.
And so
That's
Tommy,
infamous, man. I mean, Brave New World, that's an infamous phrase in the Philippines, man.
yeah.
Yeah.
So Tommy was the one that was spearheading this event with Dante,
Okay.
with Howling
Right.
Dave.
Uh-huh.
And if you were a band and you wanted to play, Tommy will tell you, sige, you can play. Pero, no covers. All original dapat.
Yeah.
So, and everyone was given like a 20-minute set,
Hmm.
right? So, when we played, I was like, wait, 20 minutes. Okay. So so sabi ko, okay, 5 songs tayo. 5. Baka pwedeng 6, 20 minutes eh. Diba? Whereas the other bands, 2 songs lang. Siyempre, dahil may solo sila sa umpisa, tapos may solo sa gitna eh.
Yeah,
Haba ng
yeah.
songs nila.
Yeah.
Siyempre, 3 minutes lang per song.
Yeah, walang solo.
Wala solo. Di naman kami marunong mag-solo eh. So that's another thing that we look forward to. The Brave New World concerts happened every summer. So
Nice.
now, so this basically took over our because we had nowhere to play. Okay. Now the
Yeah.
first bands that started, I have to mention this. The first bands that started after the Jerks was a band called there was a band called Zoo.
Zoo.
Okay, Zoo.
I know
The
that
Zoo.
name, yeah.
Okay, now the Zoo, not the band. I know. See, Arnel Pineda.
Oh,
had a
not
band
not
called
the show band Zoo. Yeah.
No, not them.
Yeah,
This
okay.
Zoo was Jack Sikat, Boyet Miguel, Ed Ramos, and
Okay.
I forget the drummer's name, and they were pretty much happened right around that time. Okay, so you had the Zoo, you had College. College was
A band called College.
yes, a band called College. This is Arnold Morales.
Okay.
Arnold later on put up Urban Bandits.
With
But prior to
Jack
that, he was in a band called College. So you had the Zoo, you had College, and you had Woods
Woods.
was there already.
Wow.
and there was another band I forget their names, but there was about
Mhm.
3 4 bands that were happening. Oh, there was another band also called Private Stock.
Private Stock. I recognize the name. Yeah.
Right. So Private Stock, and you have to remember, all of us, all the bands had their own parang genre that they wanted to portray. Like
Mhm.
Private Stock wanted to be a mod band. They mod sila. So idol nila ang The Jam, Paul
Okay.
Weller,
Right.
mga ganyan,
Right. Right. Yeah. Yeah.
right? Uh, and the Zoo had this really heavy flanger on the guitar
Mm.
sound, no? Pero mabilis sila. Pero
Okay.
hindi hardcore bilis. They were just a fast, very high energy band as well.
Right. Uh-huh.
And then college naman, sila Arnold, they were punk. Talagang Pistols, Ramones,
Right.
Clash, kind of a band. Now, and then there was also other bands that came sprouting up that were like ska bands.
Yeah.
It was unlike here, di ba, if you're into ska, that's it. You're a rude girl, you're a rude boy. You're
Yeah. Yeah.
ska.
Yeah.
If you're
Yeah.
punk, you're punk. If
You're
you're
punk. Yeah.
rockabilly, you're rockabilly.
Right.
During that time, we were all of that. We all
Yeah.
loved ska, rockabilly, mod, punk. We love all of that because it
Yeah.
came out sabay-sabay eh. Parang
Yeah.
nabuhay siya sabay-sabay.
Yeah.
And also, kasalanan ni Dante yan. Dante would be playing, you know, the Jam and the Pistols, sabay-sabay.
Yeah.
Lang, and the early albums of the Police and the Cars and early Elvis Costello, para bang you can put them all together because of the energy behind it.
Yeah. It was the energy. Yeah. Uh-huh.
It wasn't until their later albums that they started to
Right.
separate
Yeah. When
into their
when
own
when when
whatever they
Sting
wanted to be.
became maarte na, and stuff like that.
They,
Yeah. Well, I'm more
yeah,
of a Stuart. I'm more of a Stuart Copeland guy. So
I one
Yeah.
of the best in the world.
Oh my
Absolutely,
God. Yeah. And I
absolutely.
love and
So
I love how Stuart Copeland just gets under Sting's skin all the time. I just love it, man. I
I
just
love
love it.
watching that. I love
Yeah.
watching that.
Pikon lagi si Sting kay Stuart
Always,
Copeland, and Stuart Copeland knows it. It's like,
yeah,
this fool,
he knows
pare.
the button.
Yeah.
So that happened, and then so ganun, no? So you had college, and then we had Brave New World 1. So all this was happening, and Dante was still pushing with his Sunday show, and um, 82 now, and I'm already in UP, and I'm with a friend of mine, and we're like, hey, let's put together a band.
Mm.
So I got this friend of mine from San Agustin, who I knew played bass. I don't know if you know him, June Lasso.
Yes.
June played with so many, and is still playing with so many bands.
Yeah.
June played bass, and we played a gig in UP, and I got a friend of mine to sing, and we were called The Noise, Noize. It was a one gig band
Yeah.
kind of thing, but we got hooked. We said, hey, let's tuloy natin. So my
So wait
friend
a minute.
and
Wait. Hold on. Sorry. How did you start playing guitar?
oh my God,
Yeah. Wait, hold on. I'm just gonna put off my heater. It's getting
go
warm
go
here.
go
Hold on.
go.
All right. All right. Go ahead.
Okay, how I started playing guitar was I was watching the Jerks.
Mm.
I don't know where, but somehow there was an acoustic guitar at home, and I know nobody played. Um, and I remember watching the Jerks, and I had become friends with them. So I would be backstage, and in between sets, I'd be with Nitoy, and I'm like, can you show me how you played that? Anong chords nung ganyan song? Anong chords?
Right.
So he'd show me, and then because of Jingle Magazine also, I
Mm.
knew what an E was and a D and an A and so on. So
Right. The chord chart. Yeah.
yeah, the chord chart. So I'd watch them on stage and I'd try to memorize the chord progression. I'd be like, okay, that's an E and then D and then, then I'd go to the back in the napkin and then I'd write it down and napkin, put it in my pocket. But then
Nice.
at the end of the night, I'd be so sweaty from dancing that the napkin
The ink is
ink would disappear. But I asked, we were talking about guitars one night, and Nitoy goes, he asked me if I knew anyone that was looking to buy a guitar. So I said, yeah, I know someone. And he goes, because I'm selling my guitar. I said, how much? He said, 800 pesos. I said, I'll buy it. He said, okay. I said, pwede gives. So he said, sure. So for the next 8 weeks ba yun? Or something, I paid him 50 pesos a week.
right.
Hanggat umabot yung 800.
Yeah. What was the guitar?
It was a 1965 Fender Jazzmaster.
Holy shit.
Yeah. Of course, at the time I had no idea.
Yeah.
And I was kind of upset because I wish it was a 1964. That way it would be as old as me.
Mm-hmm.
But then again, this is 1980, right? It's 1981. 81. So I was 16 years old. And so when I gave him the last $50, he gave me the guitar. And I looked at it, and at this point, my mom was already living here in the US. So I ordered some parts from her like this. It was missing like knobs and things like that. So,
Right.
but so that's the guitar that I used throughout my whole stint with the Betrayed until I left in '85.
Wow.
So I used that. I ended up leaving it with Boyet, our guitar player.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, $800. 1965 Jazzmaster, 800
Yeah,
pesos.
I mean,
And
yeah,
then
I mean, my reaction was like, "Holy shit, 1965 guitar, pare."
and then shortly after, about 6 months later, so my dad already saw that I had a guitar. And then I said, Dad, so Tommy asked me, he said, I bought a guitar from Japan and I'm selling it. It's a Hondo 2 made in Japan.
Hondo. Okay, yeah.
And dude, I'll send you a picture. It's Bumblebee.
It's yellow.
Okay. The paint job is like a Eddie Van Halen Bumblebee. It's all black with yellow stripes.
Oh, okay.
That's the reason I
okay.
bought it.
Yeah.
That's the reason I bought it. And I bought it for 1,000 pesos. Hulugan again. 50 pesos a week. This is my
When you getting this money, this is your baon money, right? This is your
My baon.
allowance.
Yeah.
Your allowance.
I'd eat a lot at home.
Yeah.
I did a lot. I'm high school pa lang, okay? I'm high school pa lang.
Right.
So I'd eat a lot at home.
Yeah.
I wouldn't eat anything at school. Then I'd eat again when I got home. I'd save my money.
Nice.
So, baon mo lang naman, di ba? 10 pesos lang eh.
Yeah.
Di ba? So, that guitar, I left with Boyet also when I left in '85.
Uh-huh.
And so the Jazzmaster disappeared, gone. Okay, I've asked Boyet about what happened to it. He said, "Oh, it went bingkong, dara. Nobody knows what happened to it."
Right.
This one, this Hondo, as we speak, is being refinished.
Oh my God!
And
It's
when
still
I get
alive.
back, and when I get back to Manila, I mean, I bought new pickups for it and everything, and it will be uh, unveiled again when I get back
Wow.
this January. I'll send
Nice.
you. I'll send you a picture of when I had it in 1980
Yeah.
and the picture new.
Wow.
I'll
Cool,
send you a
man.
picture later after this interview of
Oh
what
yeah,
it looked
yeah.
like before.
Yeah, man.
Really, really fun. So
So
that's how I
okay,
started playing.
right. Was it natural for you?
And you know, and of
Were you a
course I
guitar
started.
player?
No,
Mm.
no, but I fell in, like I said, I fell in love with that fat sound of
Right.
Boston, and I wanted to. Of course, at the time, I had no idea that it wasn't. I don't know what Fender was. I don't know what Gibson was.
Right.
All
Yeah.
I knew
Yeah.
is that all I knew was that this one has 6 strings and that one has four. That's all I
Mm.
knew.
Right.
And one made this sound and one made that sound, and I wanted
Yeah.
this sound. So I said, I guess it's a good. So and I didn't know anything about distortion, anything like that. It was just I would just plug and when I bought the Fender from Nito, I didn't have an amp, so I stuck it in the headphone jack in my sound system at home.
Oh yeah. 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 I mean, I mean, I know guitar players who did the same thing because they didn't have an amp yet. You know,
Yeah,
they just use their speakers at
yeah, I
home.
didn't have an amp. So yeah, and then you'd strum it, you'd be like, "Uy, may sound." You know,
Yeah.
siyempre, ang pangit ng sound, though, but any sound
Yeah.
was like better than yun.
Wow.
And then I became friends again with this guy called Arwin, who made amps and fixed guitars and everything. And also Mang Jun. I don't know if you've heard of Mang Jun. This guy's like super. This guy can. You can
You know
tell
what?
him.
I think I know who you're talking about. Yeah, I've heard that name, Mang Jun. Yeah.
Yeah, this guy. You can tell him, hey, I want my guitar to sound like this, and he'll make you a pickup.
Oh
He'll make
wow.
your pickup to sound like that.
He'll make the pickup. Oh my
He'll make the
god.
pickup. I mean, I remember. I had a Jaguar.
Mm.
I had a Jaguar body with a Strat neck, which I bought for uh, 800. Also, I bought it for 800 from Nitoy,
Mm-hmm.
and the sound was really way too thin because
Mm.
the Jaguar had the single coil
Single coil. Yeah.
pickup. So I brought it to Mang Jun and I said, I want it to sound like Boston. And he looked at me like, yeah, okay, you're kind of crazy. And he said, and I said, kaya ba? And he said, yeah, sure. So he did it. I was
Oh
like,
my
wow.
god, on a Jaguar.
But of course, like I said,
If you can
I
make
didn't
a
know any better.
Jaguar, yeah, if you can make a Jaguar sound like Boston, then yeah, you're a fucking good fucking technician, dude. You know. Okay, so now, okay, so that first band that and then now how does Betrayed start? And let me tell you, I gotta say, that band name is one of the fucking most badass band names ever. Betrayed. It's just so it's it's like the Damned. It's like betrayed. It's like, oh shit, yeah, these guys are fucking pissed. It's so punk rock. It's so rock and roll. And I don't know if you know this, but Papa Dom is actually an uncle of mine. He's my mom's
Wow.
first cousin. Yeah, and actually, I never knew that. I only knew that when tropical depression became popular, and
Right.
then all my aunts and my mom, because of course you see Papa Dom would come out on TV, right?
Right.
Oh, si Doming, and then I go,
Yeah.
how do you know Papa Dom? Oh, he's my cousin. Don't you know that? He's my first cousin. I'm like, holy shit. Oh my god. So all my titas are like, oh, si Doming, sikat na naman. They're like, you know,
Oh, God.
it's
So
funny.
funny.
So yeah, go ahead, please. I really want to
Okay.
know
So what happened was
how
that,
that band came about, man.
okay, so after that gig that we played at Sunken Garden with June Lasso, the drummer
Mm.
David and I, we said, hey, let's form a band. So we started playing, just the two of us. And then after that summer, I'm part of this club in UP called the ICUP, International Club of UP. So
Mm-hmm.
where all the internationals would come in. This would be like a place where they could meet other internationals.
Mm-hmm.
So David told me, he goes, "Hey, there's this guy that's new to ICUP. Two guys from New York. One of them's
Mm-hmm.
Puerto Rican, one of them's Pinoy."
Mm.
Sabi niya, and he could join our band. Of course, we had no name, no nothing.
Right.
So we met Eddie, and at this point, my friend and I, David and I, were playing. We were playing Stones, pero walang bass. Kami dalawa lang sa bahay niya.
Right. Uh-huh.
And so we invited Eddie over, and we talked. We said, we don't have a bass, so we can rent a bass. So we rented a bass amp. Went over to the house to brought it over to David's house, his garage, and we played one Saturday afternoon. And at that point, this is 1982, 83. Eddie told us, he said, I was part of a band in New York because he grew up in New York. He's Pinoy, moved to New York when he was, I think, 7 or 8.
Mm-hmm.
He said he had a band in New York, high school band, 3-piece called The Betrayed.
Ah.
And they had played at that time, 1980. CBGBs had hardcore night, like Sunday matinee, like Sunday afternoon.
Yeah, like matinee. Yeah, yeah. Uh-huh.
Yeah. So they had done CBs, they had done CBGBs and a couple other places, and then he moved to Manila. So he said, "If you guys want to do," I said, let's do originals. So you know any songs, any originals? So he said, yeah. Then he told us about the band. And then he showed us some songs, right? So he showed us Betrayed by You, Self-Oppression, a couple other songs that they were doing. So we started rehearsing it. So we said, hey, we're gonna play these songs at a gig, if and when we do get a gig.
Right.
And he said, well, if we're gonna play the songs, we have to change our name. We'll call ourselves The Betrayed.
Mm-hmm.
So I said, okay, but we were still learning the songs. We ended up playing a gig. We played a gig in Merville where we did all covers. We did like The Jam. We did a couple of Ramones songs and everything. No originals yet. And the band, our name was called, we were called the Jump Boys. The Jump Boys is a song of the Undertones' first album. They have a song there called Jump Boys, which we really, really liked. And we played that song. So after that gig, we were like, syempre you play covers because you figure if you know the song, maybe someone in the audience will know the song also and will like it.
Right.
Okay, but the covers that we were doing was like, B-sides, mga obscure, mga nobody knew them anyway, So we were it's just originals na lang.
Yeah.
So we started doing that, and we called ourselves The Betrayed. So the first time we played Brave New World, we were a 3-piece. So I played guitar, Eddie played bass and sang, and then David played drums. And for me, that was the introduction of hardcore into the scene, because our first song was 19 seconds.
Oh my God!
Called Punk Rains,
An original song.
Original. And people were like, "What the hell happened?" And we were like, the next song is, "Whoa, that was the song."
And of course, it's and he's screaming the whole time, or is he singing?
Yeah,
he's screaming.
Yeah. So
it's total hardcore punk talaga.
Yeah. And then from there,
wait, hold on. Oh, excuse me. Hold on. Someone's at the door. Hold on. I'll be right back. Sorry.
Go ahead.
All right. Yeah. Sorry, dude. Okay.
No worries.
Okay, so 99.
So that's 83, no? So that's
Yeah.
83. So at this point, um, um, the whole shaky scene is still it's still going strong,
Mm-hmm.
but there are new bands now playing at Shakey's, and it's no longer like the metal bands. Meron pa rin,
Mm-hmm.
few, but then they're starting to get infiltrated by bands playing the songs that are on the radio now.
Right.
You know, new wave songs and things like that. But still, there are no venues for punk. Wala. Except
Was it? Did it have a bad reputation, or did people just like, oh, whatever?
no, nobody knew what it was,
Right.
unless you listen to RJ.
Yeah. Okay. So
So it was just
were
E9.
were, were people were the fans, were they already getting up with I mean, their clothes with the ripped shirt, with the sleeveless
Yeah.
shirts, with
Yeah.
the fucking the fucking safety pins and shit, you know. So that was already happening.
At that time, there was a T-shirt company called Camela.
Comela, yeah.
You had Camela, and then you had Arti Linnea.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so you had these two companies that were making shirts, and in fact, they were borrowing albums from us so they could silk screen. They could copy the album covers,
Oh, okay.
and they were selling shirts.
Oh, okay.
Sorry. So they were selling shirts, and so this is already 83. No? There was a late 83, there was a game show, a noontime show called Ito Yun Ang Galing.
Mm,
Parang student canteen.
right.
Okay. And they had a contest called Punk Rock something.
Yeah.
Prior to that, if you remember, there was a competition called Rock Explo. Rock
I don't
Explosion.
know. I think no, I was too young to remember that.
Too young. Okay.
Yeah. Because in
Prior to that,
'83, in '83, I was 12, so I had no clue what was
Okay.
happening in the outside world.
Okay. Okay, so around a year or so, around 82, there was a competition called Rock Explo.
Mhm.
And it was held at the noontime show, and a weekly elimination and everything, but it was rock. Okay, Edmond had a band and played in there. The Jerks played.
Mhm.
All the heavy guys joined. Pwera lang sila Pepe, pero kasi sila Pepe and Judge. So
Okay,
Wally,
yeah.
Pepe, sila yung mga judge, Howling Dave, sila yung mga judge.
Right. Uh-huh.
And then the finals, Little River Band was in Manila, so they were part of the judges also.
Wow.
So Little River Band was there, pero nangyari, the Jerks were the only ones that played. Umabot ng finals ang Jerks. The Jerks were the only ones that played an original song. They played "Romantic Kill,"
Okay.
and they didn't win. Siyempre, ang nanalo was this band called was it Abracadabra or Hocus Pocus?
Oh yeah,
and
probably
what they
Hocus
did-
Pocus. Yeah.
What they did was they did. Why sila? They did 4 songs na dikit-dikit na medley.
Right.
Para ang haba nung kasi you're supposed to go up there and play one song. Show
And
band
they played
sila.
the medley. My God.
They did a
fucking
medley. And yung
daya.
last song nila, yung pinaka-apat na song nila was Bohemian Rhapsody.
What? They
And
played the
alam mo
whole
naman,
thing?
Filipino were the best in copying.
Yeah.
So plakang-plaka nila yung song, so they won.
Wow.
Galit na galit si June. June Lupito, galit na galit. Pikon siya because sabi niya, di ba, it's not even original.
Yeah, man.
Anyway, so a couple of years later, in '84, there was another similar contest called Punk Rock. I forget, Punk Rock something.
Yeah.
Anyway, so we played, and so
So
full blown
is
na.
Papa
all
Papa
over
Dom's
Manila.
not in the band yet?
Papa Doming's not in the band yet.
Right. Okay.
Doming's not in the band yet. Right. So it was myself. We had a
Eddie.
new drummer, Carl, Eddie, and Chris. Chris Carire was the Puerto Rican from New York.
Right.
Because after that gig at Brave New World, Eddie said, I can't. I'm having a hard time singing and playing bass at the same time. So we got Chris to play bass, and Eddie would just sing, and sometimes play guitar also. So we became a 4-piece, and then that contest happened, right? So at this point, full blown na talaga ang new wave and punk sa Manila. You're talking 1984.
Yeah.
The Zoo, the band I mentioned earlier,
Yeah.
was also in the finals, but they had changed their name. They were now Ethnic Faces.
Oh, okay. Right.
Yeah. So a lot of other bands also that were part of that
That's
time.
Jack Sikat, diba? Ethnic Faces.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jack Sikat. Yan, sila
Yeah.
Boy at Miguel, sila Ed Ramos.
Uh-huh.
And then you had Woods also in there. Diba? Urban Bandits joined.
Wow.
Dami. A
Galing.
lot of bands joined. And Ethnic Faces won that competition. Won that competition. Now, what happened there was summer, and I was not in Manila for that competition, so I wasn't there. And Ed, at that time, Chris Carire had already left, went back to New York. So the Betrayed that played that competition was 50% only. They got someone else to play. They got someone else to play bass, and they got Heli Umali to play second guitar.
Right.
By the time I got back, I spent summer in LA with my mom. By the time I got back, Eddie was leaving na to go back to the States.
Right.
So basically, the Betrayed was dead. Ako na lang natira.
Oh, okay.
I was alone. Eddie had left already, went back to the States. So I said, well, I kind of want to continue doing this thing. So I spoke to Boyet, guitar player for Ethnic Faces.
Okay.
And I said, what do you think? Would you want to, join? And we could do the Betrayed. And he said, sure. So he joined as bass player. And I said, well, we need a drummer. And he said, well, yeah, I have this friend who plays drums. He's with a band called, he used to be in a band called Dean's December.
Yeah. With
Manny
Binky.
Pagsiyun, who's a DJ. Manny Pagsiyun, who was the DJ at LS.
Right.
Jimmy Jam.
Yeah. Jimmy Jam. Okay. Yeah.
And in fact, he has a story about, because he was in a band with what's his name? In Teddy Diaz.
Oh yeah, with the Dawn.
Dean's December. Yeah, he was in a band with Diaz, and they wrote Envelope Ideas together.
Oh. Wow. See?
Yeah.
It's all connected.
They wrote a couple of songs together in this band. And then when they went their own ways, Teddy took the material and brought it to the Dawn.
The Dawn. Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Shit, man. See? It's just like all these documentaries here in the States. It's the same. It's all the same. I'm so amazed. It's so awesome, dude, to hear this. Yeah.
So one by one, so we had Boyet to play bass, and then we got Manny to play drums. And I said, well, we need a singer. So one night there was so everything was still happening. Brave New World was still happening every summer, but then there was another annual event that that was happening called Crappy Halloween,
Okay.
which is obviously on Halloween night, right? We called it.
Right.
It was called Crappy Halloween, and sometimes it was held at the rooftop of Matimias, which was on MH Del Pilar.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Matimias is the building where Tommy used to live.
Mm-hmm.
Was that's another thing. Also, Tommy had a band called Chaos,
Mm-hmm.
which he later changed to Third World Chaos because he found out there was a band in England called Chaos,
Mm-hmm.
and he's accredited. Well, they are credited for having the first album, full length album, na
Of a local.
na Pinoy.
Oh wow! Really?
Local, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. The name of the
Oh
album
my
was called
god!
New
That's
Moon
that's
Forever.
like that's rare. That's a rare thing now. Shit.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
So that night we went to Crappy Halloween, and there was a band that played called Absolute Zero,
Mm.
and they were playing Clash and really good too.
Mm.
And I was like, the hell, these guys are really good.
And you never saw them before.
Never saw them before. So I went up to Boyd and I said, "Who's the singer?" Si Daomeng. So conversation. Then we asked Daomeng if he wanted to come to the house, and and he didn't know us for the Betrayed. He just come to the house and sing. Came to the house and he saw Boyd and Manny and me, and then we started doing some of the Betrayed songs that we were doing before with Eddie.
Right.
So then we were basically reborn.
Wow.
And then
did he join that day?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. He joined right there then. And then from there, so we started rehearsing and everything, but again, there was nowhere for us to play. And then my classmate from high school contacted me and said, "Buddy, we need a house, we need a band to play on Friday nights." And I said, "Where?" She said, "Here, Shakey's Pasig 1." And her family owned Shakey's Pasig 1.
Wow. Where in Pasig is this?
You know the Rotonda on Shaw? If you're coming from EDSA, you turn right on Shaw.
Right.
You go a couple of miles in. There's a big rotonda there in front of Capitolio. On the right.
Oh, yeah. In Capitolio. Yeah, I used to live in Capitolio. Yeah. The
on the
thing,
right,
yeah.
on the right
Where the
side,
hospital used to be. Yeah.
correct. On the right side there was a Shakey's.
Oh, okay.
So we played there 3 sets a night. One night a week lang. I think Saturday nights we were there. Pero 3 sets, isang oras ang isang set.
Nice.
For us, that's a struggle because our songs are 3-4 minutes lang.
Yeah.
Diba? Not like I remember with the Jerks when they were writing their set list. Isang oras, I'd see like 9 songs. I'd be like, parang 9 songs lang, isang oras.
Yeah.
Syempre, ang hahaba ng mga solo eh.
Yeah.
So doon kami nahasa sa Shakey's.
Right. Yeah.
So we were struggling with, we gotta fill 3 hours. We gotta practice. So we were doing a lot of covers.
Right.
We were writing more material. So we did that all summer, playing at Shakey's Pasig, and then at the time. So wait,
what songs would you play? I mean, what would you delve into the classic rock stuff because they were longer songs, or you just kept it punk rock and roll?
It was all the stuff that we had been listen. No, nothing rock. It was all the Police and Joe Jackson and
okay.
The
So new wave na talaga.
Yeah, new wave na talaga. The Clash.
Yeah.
So it was at this point that I got a gig as a DJ at this place called Racola on MH. There's a little hole in the wall, really super lit. And the DJ's booth was a small closet. They had a turntable and then a small mixer,
Mm-hmm.
and then the mixer was connected to a tape deck. Okay,
So tape
so in
and
other words,
vinyl.
I had tape deck and vinyl.
And vinyl. Yeah, okay.
Okay, and walang headphones
Oh
So
my God.
so yung ilaw na maliit dun sa turntable, talagang para
Uh-huh.
makita mo yung babagsakan ng needle in between the songs.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Naka-headphone eh. And so I would go home and yung cassettes ko, naka-cue na. May yung lapis, igaganon mo. Naka-cue na.
Yeah, yeah,
Para
yeah,
pag
yeah,
play
yeah.
mo, andar na kagad yung song. Walang dead air.
Right. Uh-huh.
So, I did that for a few months and then they said, oh, we need a second DJ. So I brought Doming. So kami ni Doming yung alternate doon sa Racola.
Ah, okay.
At the same time, I got another DJ gig at this place on Makati Avenue called Roxy.
Roxy, yeah.
Roxy.
Yeah,
So I was a
nabutan ko pa
DJ
yun.
there also. Huh?
Yeah, nabutan ko pa yung Roxy. Those were all IS kids naman.
Correct. All IS kids.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I was a DJ there also. Pero wala naman mixing wala naman dancing It's, you just play one song after the other.
It's just a pub, right? Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Inuman lang. So that was happening. And then from Racola 1, the first one, the owner said, hey, I'm opening a big club and we're going to call it Racola. This one will change the name of this one. So that's the real Racola that opened on Vito Cruz. That's the big club. Yun yung pumutok nung 84.
Oh, okay.
84 to 85. That was the one with you may line outside and everything. That's when basically that took over for what happened at On Disco. All new wave kids na and everything. Ito rin kaputukan ng Smiths and Tears for Fears, The Cure.
Oh, wow. Okay, yeah.
You know,
So
all of that stuff. All of that
right.
that Depeche Mode, all of that stuff exploded 84, 85.
Yeah.
But again, there was still no venue for bands to play. It was still shakies. And I mean regularly, wala. We had the only thing we had to look forward to was Brave New World at the summer and Crappy Halloween on Halloween, and that was it. Other than that,
wow,
there's no place for you to go and watch new bands play original material. Original material.
Right. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So I mean, the reason I want to stress this out is what happened in the 90s was something that we were really, really dreaming of in the 80s. It was non-existent yun eh.
Yeah.
Diba kayo, you guys, you go and you play all original, and all this stuff. We didn't have that.
Actually, when I can relate to your story when you did the Shakies in Pasig. Every Saturday, 3 hours, three 1 hour sets, no?
Yeah.
When we started out, well, of course, we started out in this really small club in Makati Ave, and then we got a gig in Weekends Live in the Atrium, and that's where we got our fucking hasa, because for 3 years it was every Friday for 3 years, same thing, 3 1 hour sets.
Wow.
So don't come in. That's why I can understand your story, because we did the same thing, but of course for a longer time, 3 years.
Right.
And you get that's how you get good as a band. You just play and play and play.
Repetition.
Yeah.
Repetition. So it was at that point. So I was working at Racola, the big club, and at Roxy. Mind you, while all this was happening, I was still going to UP. I was still going to schools in UP.
Okay.
Okay. And then I got a call from Diditz Reyes. I don't know if you know the name Diditz Reyes. Diditz was a writer at Jingle Magazine. He was a contributor at Jingle magazine,
Yeah, yeah.
and he was
I
an
think
avid
yeah, he
photographer.
was yeah, I think he was writing in newspapers na rin, si Didits.
Yes,
Yeah,
correct,
yeah.
correct.
Oh,
He's writing newspapers, magazines, and things like that.
right. Uh-huh.
And he called me and he said, "Buds, I took over this restaurant on Mabini,
Mm.
and you can play. Can you guys play this Saturday?" So I said, "Sure." Right? The place was called Katrina's.
Yan.
So I said, "Okay." I mean, indeed, it's called. You guys want, and come here. Anyone that called and asked if you want to play, we just said yes. We didn't
Yeah.
care where or whatever.
Yeah,
We
yeah,
just
man.
said yes. So we showed up. What happened was that Friday night, we played at Racola in the garden, no? And, kumupang kami, and puro new wave yung kids, they were like, what's so noisy? It's so noisy, So parang we weren't appreciated, and we kind of felt bad that, the response was very timid to our set.
Mm. But it
Medyo
was
budget
it
kami. And then the
was it
next
already
day,
punk? Was it punk rock kids in there or no? Not yet.
no, new wave kids.
Oh, new wave kids. Okay, okay.
New wave kids, yeah. Ganun nga, mga Smiths, mga
Right.
Cure and things
The,
like that.
the goth,
And
the
then
goth people.
we talked about the gig next day, which was the invitation by Didits to play at Katrina's. So we
Mm.
show up, and it's Urban Bandits, and it's us.
Nice.
By that time, the rivalry between Urban Bandits and us was like, grabe,
Oh wow, really? Wow.
grabe. Okay.
Wha-
And we didn't know that
What?
they were gonna play until we got there.
Okay. What was this rivalry about?
Siyempre, lahat ng rivalry, di ba? Oh, we're better. Hindi.
Oh, okay.
Ganunan. Di ba?
Right.
Mas maganda yung songs namin.
Right.
Whatever. Stupid rivalry.
Yeah.
So we show up and we're happy that Didits told us that Urban Bandits is playing first.
Mm-hmm.
So syempre,
Yeah.
happy kami.
Yeah.
Kakalabasan, kayong opening up namin. Of course,
Right.
totally untrue, right?
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
just so happened that if there's two bands, one's going to go on before the other.
Yeah.
So what happened there was it really changed everything. That night changed everything because for the first time now, this music had a venue of its own.
It had a
You know what I
home.
mean? It wasn't you go to Shakey's and then you play and
Yeah.
then because pag ganon, they still can tell you masyado maingay.
Yeah. It's a job. It's still a job. Yeah.
Right, it's a job. This one hindi. This one play whatever you want.
Right.
So, and it was every Saturday. So Didits was scrambling. I need more bands, ganyan. And before you know it, there were way too many bands that wanted to play there.
Yeah.
It just got packed. Now, when I say packed, I'm talking about 50 people. 75, marami na.
Yeah.
In fact,
Was
I have
was
pictures.
Katrina's, which is bigger, the old Merrick's or Katrina's? Or
Katrina's bigger.
this? Oh my God! So
Myricks, di ba, pahaba?
Pahaba. Oh yeah,
Okay, Katrina's was baliktad. Pa ganun ang Katrina's.
it's wide. Oh, okay.
And then the
wide.
street
Okay.
was here. Yeah, it was wider.
Right. Okay.
Pero Katrina's open air. As in the stage was inside,
Mm-hmm.
okay, pero it wasn't close in a building. You didn't like go inside and then it was aircon. No, it was all open. It was all open.
Okay.
So if you're in the street, you could hear it.
Nice. Okay.
So that went on. Yeah, that started in '84. And then more and more bands played, and it just the scene just got bigger and bigger and bigger.
I
And then-
see. Yeah. Go ahead.
And then we played. Well, we did a final show because I left Manila December 12, 85.
Oh, wait,
So a
before
week
we
or
go
so
there,
before that.
before we go there, what was I gonna say? No, because I've seen pictures of you guys. No, you have a lot of pictures of of
Okay.
of uh, of betrayed in Katrina's. I guess those most of those pictures are in Katrina's. I'm assuming.
Do I still have
And
my mustache?
yeah, you still have your mustache.
Katrina's, yeah, probably, yeah.
Yeah, and man, you were. And then there was this. You had this one picture that came out in Eric Caruncho's book, and you had your your Gene Simmons look. You had your tongue out, and I was like, who the fuck is this guy? I didn't know who you were at the time when Caruncho's book came out. I'm like, putang inang rocker to, sino to? And then Buddy Trinidad of Betrayed, and then I started, okay, that's Papa Dom's band
That's
before,
funny.
Yeah, man. So
That's
and
funny.
then I've seen like your profile picture on Facebook. You have this fucking rock star pose, man. I mean, you seem to be a very Pete Townsend ish kind of guitar player performer.
One
I
of my
mean,
idols.
yeah, there you go, man.
One of my
And
idols.
look my at my back. You
I
see,
know, I see it.
right? I love
Yeah,
the Who, man. Because it's
yeah,
the energy. It's the energy. So yeah,
yeah. One of my idols.
were you an expressive performer?
Yeah, always. Always. Grabe yan. But where was I?
So
Yeah,
so
so
you
we
left,
had
yeah.
our final show early December. I think first week of December. And I told the guys that, hey, continue after I'm gone. Do whatever you
Right.
want. So they did. After I
Mhm.
left, they continued. And that Feb was when Marcus left.
Oh, okay.
February 86 was
What
when
when did you leave? The late
December
85.
85.
Oh, December 85. Okay.
Right. So when I was there, Marcus was still president.
Right.
And then Feb 86 was when Corey became president.
Mhm.
Right? Marcus fled and everything. And then the scene completely exploded, completely opened up. Of course, the guys continued to play.
Mhm.
And their sound and their direction turned more towards rock. They were playing Motorhead, and they were still doing originals, but
Mhm.
they were including more rock anthem covers into their
Right.
set.
Yeah.
Um,
Wow, they played Motorhead. Shit, huh?
yeah, and then it wasn't until late, and then it wasn't until late 80s that Doming said that he wanted to do something else,
Yeah.
and the other
They
guys
wanted
also wanted to do other things. Like
Doming
Boyet formed,
slowed down.
yeah, Boyet formed Team the Tikbalang,
Mm.
right?
Mm. He was the guitarist of Tim, right? Boyet?
Yep, yep.
Ah, okay. Yeah.
So Team the Tikbalang, Manny
Mhm.
continued to DJ. Doming formed Tropical Depression.
Right.
Now, Tropical Depression was supposed to be a punk band.
Damn.
The original Tropical Depression was Doming,
Mhm.
Chikoy,
Mhm.
Harley Alarcon,
Uh-huh.
and I forget who the bass player was.
Wow.
4-piece. And
Shit.
they started their first rehearsal. They were doing Rites of Spring.
Oh my god.
Yeah. So they were supposed okay.
Yeah.
Buddy, you get him out.
George, Dan's working. He's busy.
Come on, get him out. Get him out. Get him out.
George.
My daughter's dog.
Yeah.
Come on, get him. Go. Anyway, What was I saying?
Tropical Depression was
Right.
supposed to be a punk band. Yeah.
They were doing that, right? They were doing punk stuff and everything, and then, in fact, I think they played one gig.
Mm.
They played one gig, and then Chikoy said that he was going to go back and continue with the Jerks.
Right.
And then Harley went with Stephen, and they did Rizal Underground.
Oh yeah. So this is my era already. I can picture it already.
Now, you know Stephen Liu?
Oh yeah.
He was my roommate in UP.
Oh.
Okay. When I first met Stephen, kanya naka-crayons yan.
What do you mean crayons? The plastic
Crayons,
shoes?
yung sapatos pan-disco.
Yeah.
Siyempre, hindi na yun.
Yeah.
And then, so roommate ko siya sa UP. So in my drawer in UP, I had my bracelet, my pins, safety pins, whatever, mga punk pins. Yan. Tapos, maya-maya, so I'll get up, shower, get ready to go to class. So syempre, I put my chains on. I noticed, yung mga pins ko nawawala. And then nakikita ko siya sa AAS, sa UP, so yung mga pin ko. Spike na yung buhok. Okay. Converted.
Yeah. Yeah, and he actually started with rockabilly, right? With the Runaway Boys.
Runaway Boys, yeah. And the original drummer was my brother. Yeah, si Mickey.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, Runaway Boys. Yeah, so everywhere what we did during those early days, 82, 83, was everywhere we played. Because kilala ko at the time I was really good friends na with Howling Dave and Ami and may gig dito, may gig yan. I'll always ask, pwede ba isa pang banda? Basta pag meron, sasama ko sila. Runaway Boys, may gig ulit, tara.
Oh, wow.
And it was good because punk kami, rockabilly sila, and then there'd be and then you'd have Private Stock, which was a mod band. Diba? So parang something for everyone.
Yeah.
It was really good. It was really good for the scene and everything.
So why did you come to the States? Did you migrate?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
I moved to the States December of 85 to live forever and ever. Amen. And for me it was the best. It was maybe I would have liked to have come a couple of years earlier. That way I would have been able to see the Clash.
Shit. Yeah.
While they were still together.
Oh, they were broken up already at the time.
Yeah, they'd broken up by the time I got here, 85. Mick Jones was no longer in the band. It was basically the Clash.
Oh yeah, it was. Yeah, right. Yeah.
5-piece band, 5 na sila. So which I didn't care for.
Yeah.
But I saw all my heroes when I arrived. I saw the Dickies. I saw Circle Jerks, The Damned. I saw Black Flag, Fear.
Oh my God! You saw Fear?
Saw
See,
Fear.
that's another band that I discovered here in the States. And I'm like, putang inang banda to, pare. What's his name? Lee
Ving.
Fucking
I met Lee
shit,
Ving. I
man.
met Lee Ving. It was at the Hollywood Palladium. Fear was playing with the Dickies, and it was another band. There's 3 bands, and I was at the merch counter, looking what to buy.
Right.
And at the time, flyers ang uso, di ba? Next gig, flyers.
Right.
So I had flyers in my pockets everywhere. So I had a flyer for the next Dickies gig. And this guy comes up next to me and points at, asking for something for one of the people there. And I turn and it's Lee Ving.
Man.
And I said, dude, hi. So I talk, how are you? So I told him, he goes, where are you from? I said, I'm from the Philippines. So I pull out the flyer and I said, can I have your autograph? And he signs it. To all of you in the Philippines, Lee Ving. And I still have it to this day.
Oh, dude. Oh,
Yeah,
is it
I
framed
still
or laminated or something?
It's somewhere in one of my bowls. I don't know.
Oh,
But I still have it. I still see it every time I dig.
yeah,
through my
man.
stuff.
like I said, because I was watching all these documentaries, and in the even in the Foo Fighters documentary, they mention Fear because
Oh yeah,
Dave Grohl's a big hardcore
yeah,
guy,
yeah, big.
and man, when I first saw footage of Fear and Lee Ving, just like
Yeah.
sabi ko, putang ina pare. Ito yung gusto ko pare. I mean,
So classic.
I like the classic rock melodic stuff, but I also like fucking um the hardcore stuff, like when Rollins just goes off
Yeah,
and when Leaving goes off, like in the Foo Fighters song Monkey Wrench. You know that
yeah,
song Monkey Wrench,
yeah,
and
yeah,
he
yeah,
goes off and does that fucking hardcore verse
yeah,
and screams the whole verse. You know how hard it is to do
yeah,
that.
yeah.
You know, so I really love that. I love Leaving and Fear, man. And then there was that footage when they came out on SNL. I
Yeah.
think that was,
Oh
and
yeah,
then they brought their fans to the
yeah,
SNL studios, and they just were slamming and thrashing, and it's fucking awesome, man. I really love it more than
yeah.
anything
I
else.
really love that.
More than musicianship, really in rock and roll, it's the energy for me, man.
Yeah,
Even you can be the
what's the attitude
crappiest
behind it
band,
also?
yeah, man. It's like
Yeah.
it's like even the Damned. I mean, the Damned. I mean, they're not the best. They're
Oh God.
definitely not the best players. But pero when I
Oh,
first heard that song, what's
New Rose.
yeah, New Rose. You know, the
That single. That single is a,
riff alone,
that
it's just
song.
chords.
That song is being credited as the first ever punk single to be released because it beat the Pistols' "God Save the Queen" by 2 weeks.
Oh wow,
45. Nauna sila. Yeah, so
yeah.
so it was really a great time for me to move here
Mm.
musically. Um, the shows were $8, if you can imagine. I still have a lot of my stubs. No,
Oh yeah, I'm sure. Yeah, I kept all the stubs,
yeah.
the concerts
So
I've
shows
seen.
were $8,
And
and
those are
lalo na
valuable
LA,
now
a lot
because
of
they
local
don't
bands.
use ticket stubs anymore.
No, they don't.
Yeah.
You know, so I saw Bad Religion many, many, many times. But some mga local bands, Social Distortion, many, many times. The Dickies are from here also, so a lot. And I saw the Ramones every time they came to town, and they came to town every year.
Wow. Where
Now,
were you living?
I was living in when I first moved here. I lived in North Hollywood,
Okay, in the
and then from
valley.
there
Yeah.
I moved to. Well, when I got married, we moved to Park La Brea,
Mm-hmm.
and then from there we moved to Burbank.
Mm.
Before we moved to Seattle in '97. Yeah, I moved to Seattle in '97 before going home.
Wow.
I mean, it was such a great time to
So wait.
be.
So you're based in Manila now?
Yes,
Okay.
I
Okay.
moved back after about 14 years.
Oh,
Interesting
okay.
story. In '94, I'll jump a little bit.
Yeah.
'94,
Yeah. Yeah.
since we're talking
Uh-huh.
about bands. '94, I got hired by Morton's to be their pastry chef. Morton's was a restaurant in
Yeah.
Hollywood.
Let's segue to this already, since your adventures with the band are pretty much past already. So yeah, we can go to this, man,
Um,
because
I
I
was
love
working
food
at
too,
a
man.
restaurant at Morton's,
Uh-huh.
and they did, the Oscar parties and
Mm.
the Grammys and the Emmys and all of that stuff and so on and so forth. And they, Peter Morton owns Hard Rock,
Okay.
Hard Rock America.
Mm.
So I got a call. I'm in the job not even a month, right? And I've already made friends with people in accounting and people in HR, and so the manager at the Hard Rock or at Beverly Center calls me and says, "Buddy, what are you doing? What are you doing tonight?" I'm like, "Nothing." I said, "It's day off. Da, da, da. The restaurant's not open yet. We're
Yeah.
getting ready to open Morton." And he goes,
And
"I
Morton's
got
is not
you in a
open yet at all, right?
Morton's not yet. We're still prepping."
Wow.
and everything.
Wow.
So I'm like 2 weeks into work, two,
Okay.
3 weeks into work. And he said, I got you an invite, you and your wife,
Mm.
here tonight at the Hard Rock.
Mm-hmm.
I said, what's going on? He goes, there's an auction. There's a rock auction that's happening here of guitars, signed guitars,
Mm.
right? So I said, sure. I said, who's playing? You know who played?
No.
Van Halen.
Oh shit.
Okay, but you have to remember, this
Wait,
is 94.
Van Halen, David Lee Roth, or Sammy Hagar?
This is 94. So Hagar
Oh,
na
Sammy
to.
Hagar. Yeah, Van Hagar. Yeah.
Van Hagar, right? And of course, me, I grew up to David Lee Roth,
Right.
right? But still, it's still Eddie, right?
Oh yeah.
So I go with my wife, and there's less than 100 people at Hard Rock.
Mm.
So it's all these guitars. There's about 30 guitars on guitar stands. And, if you want to bid, it's an auction, right? So you have guitars
Right.
signed by Eric Clapton. You have the guitar signed by The Who, by the Stones, by, right, all these other people.
Yeah.
You have a guitar signed by Eddie. But it's not their guitars. It's just guitars signed by.
Signed. Okay. Right. Okay.
Right. So
Yeah.
there's a Strat there that's signed by Eddie, but it's not
Mhm.
it's not an Eddie guitar. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
So so that they were auctioning that off and everything. So my wife are there watching, and we're watching Van Halen play. And of course, it's not no DLR stuff at all, right? It's all the new stuff.
It's the new stuff. Yeah.
playing.
Yeah.
And then one by one, Tommy Lee walks in, right? Sits in the drum kit.
Oh my god.
Dweezil Zappa walks in,
Shit.
jams with them. Before you know it, there's like 10 people on stage.
10 rock
Because,
stars.
it's LA, diba? So it's just
yeah.
one call and they're there.
Yeah. They probably live down the road too.
Exactly. So,
Yeah.
of course, I'm there, no camera.
Oh.
Diba? But I'm freaking out, right? I'm freaking out. I'm like, oh my God. What happened? So that was an incredible night for me.
So how did you your path to being a chef? How did that happen? And before we go to that, you have this famous photo of you in the pulp magazine. Remember that, with you with the chocolate face?
Oh,
That's
right.
that's like a classic photo of you, man. And I still remember it, And when I first saw it, it's like, that's a really cool photo of Buddy Trinidad with the chocolate on his face. It's really
What
so.
happened
So yeah.
there-
So how did you get into?
Okay. So my path
Culinary,
to culinary happened a lot younger than my path to music.
Oh wow.
My mom's been baking ever since before I was born,
Oh, okay.
and so she would bake just at the house for tita's birthday, ni lolo, birthday ni tita, one of my siblings' birthday, my birthday, whatever. So she was
Right.
always baking at least 3 times a week. And me being the bunso, if it was raining outside or anything, I wasn't allowed to play in the rain because I might
Right.
get sick. Meanwhile, my brothers and sisters are all playing in the rain.
Yeah.
So she'd say, "Come here, help me." She would teach me separate the eggs from the egg yolks and this like that, and
Wow.
I would watch. And the thing that amazed me was, from my perspective, I would see the ingredients every day.
Right.
I would see eggs, flour, sugar.
Yeah.
what have
The
you.
mise en place.
I mean, I'd see the mise en place. And at the end of the day, it would be different.
Mm.
But yesterday she made Black Forest. Today it was cheesecake. And then it's coffee crunch. But it was like the same. So for me, what amazed me was she was creating something from nothing. In other words, using this stuff, you can make anything.
You can make
So
anything, yeah.
from a creative standpoint, that I like that.
Right.
I like that because parang para sa akin, no rules eh. Parang ganon.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I can make whatever I want.
Is your father creative?
He was a lawyer, so I guess
Oh,
not.
okay. So it's mom. It's mom talaga. Yeah.
So there, I learned that at a very early age. Before I was 10, I was helping mom out.
Mm-hmm.
And then when my mom, like I said, my mom left when my mom moved to the States in 1980. So the baking stopped.
Oh, okay.
I remember early on, like 81, or I was still in high school.
Mm-hmm.
81, I remember looking at my brother and I said, don't you miss mom's baking? He said, yeah, I do. And I don't know why. I just said, you know what? I think I can do it. I mean, all her mixers were still at home. I still had all her recipes.
Yeah.
So I went to my dad. I asked for some money. He goes, what for? I said, I'm going to bake cheesecake, mom's cheesecake. So
Nice.
and at the time, the only cream cheese available in the Philippines was Philadelphia and only in Cartimar. You couldn't go to the
wow.
There was no cream cheese. Magnolia had not made cream cheese yet.
Oh my gosh.
So I would have to go to Cartimar, buy the cream cheese there and everything. So I started with that. And, so every so often my mom would call and my dad's like, oh, he's baking now. He made cheesecake yesterday, chocolate chip cookies today, da-da-da. So little by little, I started baking.
Did you find it natural for you? Was it like
very, very easy.
Nice.
Very easy. I never had any, I never got burnt or anything like that, but it was very easy for me. Then in 84, I went to visit, my brother and I went to visit my mom. We were in LA for 2 months. And then I got back. After I got back, I was still going to school. That was the height already, like I was saying earlier.
Yeah.
I was DJ at 2 places, Rockola and Roxy. The band was going full blast. I was going to school at UP. I was playing semi-pro football. May liga. We had a league here
Right. Yeah.
in Manila.
Uh-huh.
So obviously my school suffered, right?
Yeah.
And I remember my dad asking me, he goes, your mom called. Do you want to live with her in the States? I said, really? When do I leave? So that December I left, December of 85.
So you didn't protest that. You didn't say, like, oh, I want to stay in Manila. He's like, no, I'm going to America, man.
When I remember when the 2 months that I spent in LA.
Right.
I got there.
The year before,
84.
Right.
I had watched the Dickies, Black Flag, Circle Jerks. I'd seen like 6 bands.
Shit, pare.
And I was completely blown out of the world. I was like, who wouldn't want to live here?
Right. Yeah.
And at the time I was already baking. So everywhere we'd go, kain. Oh my God, look at that cake. Look at that cake.
Oh yeah.
Diba? So
yeah.
I moved here December of 85. And I went to, the deal was for me to go to culinary school.
Okay. Right.
So
now it's just raw talent right now.
Yeah. It's just, give me a recipe, I'll follow it kind of a thing.
Right.
So my mom gave me this stack of flyers of different schools. And it's like 2 weeks in Germany, 1 month in Switzerland. And I'm like, what the hell?
Yeah.
I'm not going to go to another country. Diba?
Yeah, you just came to this country.
Hindi lang yun. At the time, TNT pa ako.
Oh, yeah.
Because
right.
my mom was still fixing my papers eh.
Yeah.
My mom already had papers, but she was still fixing mine. But until I get those papers, technically, I'm TNT, right?
Uh-huh.
So I said, okay, I'll choose this school. CCA, San Francisco. Right?
California.
My mom goes, okay, hindi pwede.
Was
because
that
syempre bunso.
California Culinary Academy? Is that what it means?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So me being the bunso, syempre I'm the favorite, di ba?
Yeah.
So my mom said, you can't go to the school in San Francisco because you're gonna have to work because you're gonna have to get an apartment. You're gonna have to.
Right.
And she said, and the school cost 10 grand.
Holy
Too
shit!
mahal.
In 1985.
1985. One sem yun, ha? 1
Oh
year.
my god!
So 20
One
grand.
semester.
It's a 2-year course.
Oh my gosh!
So she said, we'll have to look for a school for you here in LA. So research. The only schools they had were theory, no hands-on.
Okay.
Until I found LA Trade Tech, which is downtown LA.
Mm.
It's still there to this day. And it's a trade school. They teach
Trade
cabinet
school.
making, auto mechanics, hairdresser, how to put on makeup, and basta
Yeah.
trade school talaga. So
Uh-huh.
I did 2 years there, and my mom was very happy because my uh, my tuition was $50 a semester.
Oh yeah, because it's a trade school. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I did that. So I
Wow.
was going to school. My school was
And
7 to 11.
how was the quality of education in the trade school?
It was great because it wasn't spoon fed.
Mm.
You know, when you did things, my teacher, you know what I loved about my teacher is that he would show you something, right?
Mm.
And then he would notice that you were doing something wrong
Mm.
and he would let you.
Oh,
correct
he would
you.
let you. He would let you
He'd
make a
let you
mistake.
bake it. He'd let you bake it. Go ahead.
Right.
Go ahead,
Yeah.
bake it.
Yeah.
And then when it came out, you'd be like, what the hell happened? And then he'll be like,
Yeah.
okay, you see what happened?
Ah.
Okay. The what I learned there was the importance to notice what a mistake looks like.
After you've made
You have
it.
to know what a mistake smells like, tastes like, feels like.
Right.
Because if you're gonna be a student, straight A student who's never made a mistake, trust me, you're gonna make all the mistakes when you're working already,
Right.
which you don't want to do because they're paying you.
Right.
They're not paying you to burn the stuff. They're paying
Yeah.
you to
It's
make it.
yeah. It's like how when I explain to musicians the importance of practice and band rehearsal, it's like the band rehearsal is where you make your mistakes so that when
Correct.
the gig comes, you don't make a mistake at the gig. You know?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So that's one thing I appreciated with that teacher. And when I teach, I stress that. I say you have to do it on purpose. You have to burn the bread on purpose. You have to underbake it on purpose. Underproof it, overproof the bread.
So you know what it
Try it
looks
out.
like. So you know
So
what
you
the
know.
mistake is. Yeah.
You're still on the other side of the room. By sight, you will be able to tell.
Right.
You'll be able to tell. Kulang yan. Sobra yan.
For
Yeah,
$50 a sem, right? You don't need
$50 a sem.
You don't need $10,000 for a teacher to say that, man. Right?
Diba?
It's like ridiculous, dude.
So I did that, and then I worked my I was 20 years old. Syempre, full of energy and everything. So think about that. My school was from 7 to 11 in the morning. Okay, I got a job at a fine dining restaurant from 3:30 to 11. Sorry, 4:30 to 11 ng gabi.
Wow.
Okay, so at the morning 7 to 11, and then 4:30 to 11. And then one day when I was at school, this old lady came in and had an announcement looking for someone that can make ice cream cakes and decorate, knows how to pipe happy birthday and this and that and everything.
Yeah.
I didn't know how to do any of that. I was still learning it in school, but I love ice cream. So I applied. And I really thought that my other classmates were going to go for this job.
Uh-huh.
Dude, no one showed up. I was the only one that showed up, so I got the job.
Okay.
So I was working at Baskin Robbins in Inglewood. In
In
Inglewood,
Inglewood, oh my God.
dude,
In
I'm
the
telling you,
80s? Was this in the 80s or already in the 90s?
dude, mid '80s. I'm talking the
Oh,
height of the Crips and the Bloods.
oh my God.
The
And
height,
the height of crack, dude.
dude, the height.
Oh my God.
It was really bad. It was really bad.
Oh my God. You were a
Really
witness
bad.
to that, huh?
Yeah.
Shit. So
So,
it was really bad as history puts it.
yeah.
Oh my
There
God.
was a
Okay,
day.
go
There
ahead.
was a day I was in at work.
Uh-huh.
So the store is long like this. Okay. In the front, you have the front door. On to
Mm-hmm.
this side. This side are the cabinets, the ice cream, and then
Okay.
right here. So there's a space here. Right
Uh-huh.
here is my chiller for my ice cream cakes. But
Right.
there's space here for me to be able to go out,
Right.
right? Or for anyone to. This is where the employees can go in. The back here, right behind me, is the
Uh-huh.
door to the office.
Okay.
Now, so it's myself, the husband, the owner behind the counter,
Mm-hmm.
fixing the ice cream, and
Yeah.
his wife, the old lady, is in the office. This
Yeah.
black guy comes running in the front door,
Uh-huh.
really, really fast, no shirt,
Oh my God, dude.
runs into the office and slams the door.
Oh my God, with the old lady in the office.
The old lady inside. Okay.
Oh my God.
Now make glass you could see in. Now, as
Okay.
the black guy runs into the store, there's four black guys following him,
Running after him.
running after him. I mean, we're talking a second and a half behind to 2 seconds. Okay.
Right.
That's how fast. As the guy shuts the door, the four guys are right behind him. They're banging on the door. I'm going to kill you. I'm going to kill you. I'm going to kill you.
Oh my God.
Okay. Meanwhile, the
And this
husband
is
is
happening right in front of your eyes.
right in front of me.
Oh
Okay. It's like
shit.
it's like lunchtime, like
Oh
12:30.
my. Okay.
The husband is screaming at the guys to get out of his effing store.
Yeah.
Okay. The wife who's in the office is screaming.
Oh my God.
She's screaming. She's saying that the cops are coming. The cops are coming because she has the alarm on the floor.
Right.
You
Right.
just
Right.
step on.
Yeah.
She's screaming. The cops are coming. The cops are coming. Okay. The four guys run out. A second later, the guy that was in the office opens the door and he runs out. Okay.
Oh my God.
30 seconds later, two black and whites pull up, pare shotgun drawn.
Oh my God.
I'm freaking out. I'm like,
It's
this
like the
kid-
fucking movies, pare.
it's like the movies.
Oh
It's like
shit.
the movies. I was shaking. I was like, they come
It's a
in.
good. It's a good thing those guys didn't have guns. Because usually Bloods and Crips, they have guns, right?
Yeah,
Oh my God, dude.
but it was just,
That's
and it
intense,
happened
man.
so fast.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Pero grabe ang response ng police, pare. Within a minute, they were there.
Oh yeah, they were probably already, going around the neighborhood,
Yeah. Inglewood.
And they're probably like, oh, here we go again, down in Baskin Robbins. Yeah.
And the manager of the store is this guy, si Art, this Mexican guy. We would always talk about stereos. He loves stereos,
Uh-huh.
right? So at that time I was driving a 1980 Honda Accord, yung hatchback, yung maliit, yung small
Yeah, yeah.
1980 Honda Accord.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And I said, yeah, I'm looking to change my stereo. He goes, hey buddy, what do you want? I said, I don't know, man. I'm looking for a Blaupunkt.
Yeah, I was gonna say
Pare.
Blaupunkt.
Blaupunkt. Okay?
Yeah.
Pare, that afternoon, this black guy walks in, may hawak na paper bag. And then Art calls me over. Art calls me over. He goes, hey buddy, you like this? Pulls out, parang may stereo, may car stereo.
The Blaupunkt.
Hindi, yung bagong-bago at the time bagong-bago pa yung 300Z yung Datsun.
Right. Uh-huh.
300Z. Pare,
Yeah.
may cassette pa, may bala pa. Sabi ko, no, man. Sabi niya, pare, it's from the new 300, man. You should buy it. Sabi ko, no, I want a blow punk. So he turns to the black guy. He goes, yo, man, he really wants a blow punk. He goes, all right,
Punk.
I'll see you tomorrow. So he comes back the next day.
He probably
Comes
fucking
back the next day. Comes back the next day with a blow punk and the 357.
and the what? And the 357?
A 357
Magnum?
Magnum.
Oh, holy shit. Oh, so the old guy wanted a gun.
The manager, Art, $120.
For the gun?
Yep.
Wow. Oh my
So
god.
what
But
happened was that I bought the blow punk
for how
for
much?
$20. For $20.
Pare, that was fucking stolen from a BMW or a Benz for sure, man.
Beamer. From a
A
Beamer.
Beamer, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. From a Beamer. So I bought the blow punk for $20. And Art bought the 357 for 120. And 6 months later, I called Art. I wasn't working there anymore. I called him. I said, Art, you still got the 357? He goes, yeah, man. I said, I'll buy it from you. He goes, you want to buy it? I said, yeah. He goes, okay, 250. I said, yo, man, you bought it for 120. I'll give you 140.
Tinarahan ka pa. Oh my god, 357
Nagtakas eh.
Magnum. Putang ina,
Nagtakas.
pare.
I knew how much he paid for it.
Yeah.
So,
But I mean, a gun like that. I mean, that's a scary
but
gun.
that's
Dude.
Inglewood, man. That's my Inglewood
Shit.
experience down there.
You know, I mean,
You know?
I'm a, here in the States, they have the Second Amendment, the gun thing. I'm very iffy about it, but I understand the self defense with I don't like the big military guns. I don't think that's my stand. I don't think civilians should own those big guns, but you can have a gun that'll maim an attacker, or something like that, but not disintegrate them into pieces. So
when I was before I got married.
no, but I mean, what I mean is that in situations like that, if you're in fucking gang country, then fuck yeah, get a gun, man. Yeah, dude, I have no objection to that.
Right. I mean, before I got married, I slept with a 45 under my pillow.
Oh my god, dude.
Yeah. So I would go to the range every weekend with my brother. We would go down. We would go to gun shows and things like that. But it was purely for self-defense.
Yeah.
I just wanted to make sure that I was familiar with what I had in my hand, and I knew how to use it.
Right.
And after I got married, then I sold it. But I remember when the riots happened, when Rodney King riots happened in '92.
Shit, where were you?
Everybody was I was in La Brea.
Holy
and
shit!
I had 2 kids already.
I
was in La Brea. I was living in Park La Brea. I had 2 kids already, and I had sold my gun. So I had to call my brother and be like, "Yo, let me borrow that Mossberg," So I borrowed a shotgun.
La
Just so I had
Brea,
something in the house.
La Brea is in Hollywood already.
Third.
Is that hot? Huh?
Third, and well, it's in LA. You know the farmers market,
Yeah, the Grove.
CBS.
The Grove, right?
Yeah, the Grove. Yeah, there, right there.
Okay. Okay.
Right there. Yeah.
And that's where the riots were, right? In that area.
Well, the riots
Or-
started in East LA.
Okay, so it's across town, right? It's not.
Yeah, but it made its way all the way to Hollywood and all the way
Yeah,
into
to even to
Beverly
Koreatown.
Hills and all of that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my
remember those
god!
riots.
What did it feel like? Did it feel like? Did you feel danger? Were you fearful that they were gonna? It was gonna just take over all of LA.
Well, no, I felt like it was they were upset. You know what happened, right? The Rodney King.
Oh yeah, of course, yeah.
The cops
I'd be
were
upset,
found.
dude.
Cops were found not guilty.
Yeah.
So they acted up. They were upset, obviously, as I would have been. And I felt that it wouldn't reach me because of where I was, because there were no stores near me. There were no.
Oh, okay.
I wasn't near a mall.
It wasn't loot prone.
Friendly. My area wasn't loot friendly. Yeah, there were no liquor
Loot
stores.
friendly, right?
There were
Yeah,
no
yeah,
gun
yeah.
stores.
Mm-hmm.
Because all the shops that were hit were all liquor stores and gun stores.
Right.
You know, liquor stores, gun stores, yeah, mga ganyan. Anything and everything, basta they could steal something. They just
Yeah.
wanted to
Fuck shit up, man.
Exactly.
Oh my god. Oh my god,
Exactly.
dude, you were in the thick of it, man. You were in the fucking
Yeah,
you were boys in the hood, you know. You were right there, man. I mean, the Inglewood story, you know, that's like
yeah,
that's like the epicenter of that fucking that
yeah.
whole
I mean,
era of gangs, man.
I have another, and then 2 years after that, the whole O.J. Simpson thing happened.
Oh, you know what? I was here in the States when that happened. I was in Florida on vacation,
Okay,
and the Disney World, Epcot Center, all that, and
that's
we were
right.
staying in a motel, and then one morning we were about to go and do whatever, go to SeaWorld, I think, and we see OJ on the freeway,
On
and
the
the
freeway.
cop cars behind him,
Yep,
and we were like, "What's happening? Who's that?"
yep.
And then, of course,
The
at that
white
time,
Bronco,
everybody who knew who OJ was, right?
of
So
course.
even the kids, even us kids, we were young. You're like, OJ Simpson, what did he do? And then there's like, then he murdered his ex-wife. We were like, all of us, all the whole family, like, what is happening? He murdered someone, and now he's being, and they're like driving really slow on the freeway. They couldn't catch him because he was still in the car,
Yep,
and so we were all baffled because we weren't used to seeing the American way of things. You
right.
know, we were used to Filipinos just fucking the cops beating up the suspect, even if the suspect isn't fucking the guilty one. And
Right, right.
they just police brutality up front. So when we see this an orderly fashion, it's like, okay, why don't they just arrest him? He's right there.
Right.
And then we see the people on the overpasses just cheering him on.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh my god!
Siyempre,
It was
he's a hero, di ba? Football hero, eh.
yeah,
Parang
yeah.
untouchable si OJ. The funny story there is, I was working at a restaurant in '93. Well, '93, yeah, '93. No, '92 to '93. A restaurant called Tryst, Tryst on La Cienega, and one of the guys I was working with, I'd worked with him before. Was this guy, see Jason. Jason is OJ's kid, Jason Simpson. He's OJ's kid, not with
not with the blonde lady.
not with what's her name?
I
Not with
forgot her
Nicole.
name.
Not with Nicole.
Yeah.
Right.
First wife.
With his first wife. So Jason's a big guy. I mean, Jason's
Yeah.
about to go into college and everything. And I remember him telling me the pressures, and they want me to go play football, because of my dad, blah, 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 and everything.
Yeah.
I felt like saying, "Wow, hirap ng buhay mo, dude." Diba? I mean,
Yeah.
you're so in just because of your name.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Yeah.
so we became kind of friends. We would call each other. He would ask me about recipes. I'd ask him about salad things, and so, because of his station at the restaurant.
Right.
Anyway, so one night we're all in the middle of service, and his dad walks into the kitchen.
Shit.
And he's
How
like,
big is
"How's
OJ,
everybody
man?
going?"
How
Huh?
big is he? How big is OJ Simpson?
Oh, he's a big guy.
Oh,
he's
he's
a big
big.
guy.
Wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
but not. So he comes in and he's like, "Oh, don't be afraid to mess up my boy if he gets out of line and everything." And
Embarrasses
So
his son.
September, we're all starstruck, right? We're all like,
Yeah.
it's O.J. Simpson. And so, okay lang. No big deal. And like a month or so later, Nicole is in the restaurant having dinner with Tony Danza. And so we thought nothing of it. And we're all,
Mhm.
it's pretty much after our service, and we're all at the back.
Yeah. Just hanging
Downtime
out.
before we go back in and clean. And
Okay.
it's right by the parking lot where all the cars are parked. So we see this blonde walking.
Yeah.
So the light is behind her, so we can't see the face.
Yeah.
We see a blonde girl walking, and a guy.
Uh-huh.
So as they get closer, we hear a voice.
Mm.
Jason. So he turns, and it's Nicole.
Okay.
And Tony Danza's walking her to her car, right?
Uh-huh.
And it's a Ferrari that's right there, right in front of us. So they say hello. Jason says hello, hi, ganyan. They talk, and then they leave. After they leave, we're getting dressed, and then one of the cooks turns to Jason and says, "Yo, man, so how old's your mom?"
Mm.
And he turns, and talagang the veins pop out of his head.
Oh,
And he
shit.
goes, "She's not my mom."
My mom.
I'm super galit.
Oh my God.
So I'm
He
like,
doesn't like her, huh?
didn't like her one bit.
Wow. Okay.
So cut. The following year, I'm at the department store with my wife. We're walking around, and then it's the car chase, right? The famous
Yeah.
car chase. So we're watching it, and in the States, when you get to the department store where it's all the TVs, all the TVs are
Oh yeah. In
plugged
one
into
channel.
the car
One
chase.
channel. Yeah.
Right. So there's like, parami ng tao na nanonood.
Yeah.
Everyone's like, what's going on? What's going on? So we're all watching, and there's about 50, 60 people now here, all over this area. We're all watching it. And then they end up at OJ's house, right, in Brentwood, right?
Right. Yeah.
So they end up at the house. And so there's a helicopter up on top of the car. And they show the car go in,
Yeah.
and they show someone run out to the car,
Uh-huh.
right? So
Yeah.
you hear the announcer going, "Someone running to the car again." And I turn to Rita, to my wife, and I go, "Oh,
Yeah.
honey, it's Jason.
It's Jason. Yeah.
Jason was the one that ran to the car, right?"
Yeah.
I say, "Honey, it's Jason." And then a second later, the announcer goes, "We just got confirmation that it's Jason, the son
It's
of
Jason
O.J.
Simpson.
Simpson, that went to the car." Everyone in the store starts turning their heads, looking at me like,
That's your friend.
I'm like, "Honey, we gotta go.
Isn't
Let's
that
go.
your buddy, Jason?
Let's get out."
Oh my God, pare.
It's so funny.
Did you ever talk to Jason after that?
One time,
Okay.
he called me up. We met. I was still living in Park La Brea. We met at the 7-Eleven near my house, and we didn't talk about that. He wanted to get a recipe from me of one of the cakes that I made at the restaurant, because he wanted to do it at the restaurant that he was working at already. New restaurant he was working
Oh,
at.
okay. Gotcha. Yeah.
But I wasn't gonna bring it up,
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
because I didn't know
Yes.
what his kind of, lalo na at that time, people were saying that, oh, maybe the son did it.
Oh, shit.
If it's true that OJ was in Chicago, maybe the son could have done it, because the son is just as big as
Yeah.
OJ. It could have been the son, make it look like it was
Oh,
OJ.
my God.
So there was that whole thing happening. So I'll be like, "Yo, man, so was it?" I don't want to say it, but that was the last time I saw it.
Oh, wow.
Pero at the time, walang cell phones, walang nothing. So
Yeah,
if someone moved whatever landline number
Oh,
you
yeah.
had,
You're lost.
gone.
Yeah. That's
That's
funny,
it. So
man.
that's it. So I lived in, and then as I stayed longer in the States. I just watched more and more bands and moved from one restaurant to the next. And then uh, the best times I had was when I was at Morton's. So I was meeting all these people. I remember. Um, I mean, we would always have. Sorry. We would always have. Rod Stewart was always at the restaurant.
Wow.
Always big table,
Always
table
with
12,
always with the hair.
same hair with this. They were always a big party. Oh, I have a story for you.
Uh-huh.
Um, there was another guy in the restaurant. Another cook that I worked with. This guy, sobrang galing na guitar player. Sobrang galing.
Okay.
Pero classic rock siya. Classic rock. Led Zepp, ganon. Santana. I mean, this guy was
Yeah.
really, really into the heavy stuff.
Uh-huh.
Long hair. And one night, one of the waiters came back and said, "Buddy, do you know the band Queen?" And I was like, "Yeah." And he goes, "The drummer's here."
Oh fuck, Roger Taylor.
I said, "You're kidding, right?" He goes, "No, he's sitting at the bar waiting for friends."
Okay.
And I said,
This is in Morton's, right?
Huh?
This is in Morton's.
Yeah, it's at Morton's. I said,
Okay.
"How can I get an autograph?" And he goes, "Well, it's not allowed. We're not allowed."
Right.
Right? I said, I gotta get something. There's no way he's leaving
Yeah.
that I'm not gonna get something. So I made kunyari that I needed to get like alcohol from the bar, like rum or something for a dessert that I was gonna make it, which happens all the time. I always walk up there to get something.
Yeah.
So I walk up, and instead of going off to the side of the bar, I cut to like right where he's sitting.
Uh-huh.
At
And
the
he's
bar,
still
and then
alone.
I reach over and I talk to the bartender, and I
Uh-huh.
turn to him and I said, "Aren't you the drummer from Queen?" He goes, "Yeah." And I said, I made bulong. I said, "Can I get an autograph?" And then I pulled out a piece of paper and a pen.
Yeah.
He goes, "What's your name?" I said, "Buddy." So I have it to this day.
Oh
To Buddy.
wow.
To Buddy. Drinks all around then? Question mark. Roger Taylor. Queen 90, 95 or something.
Wow.
In other words, you're buying me and my friends around
Right, of course.
for
Yeah.
this piece of paper.
Yeah.
Of course, when I got it, I said thank you. I didn't read it. I just put it in my
Yeah,
pocket and
yeah.
went back to the kitchen.
Right. Yeah.
Right? So I get back to the kitchen and I read it. Right? So I called
Yeah.
the waiter and I said, "Tell the waitress, the bartender,
Bartender. Yeah.
that the next round for him and his friends,
On
I'll
you.
sign for it tomorrow when I
Right.
come back to work."
Yeah.
And then
Wow.
diba? So I felt pretty good.
Oh,
We
you got an auto. You got the autograph and you bought him a drink.
So I come in the next day
Mm.
to sign the kwan. May signing privileges ako dahil at that time pastry chef na ako.
Uh-huh.
So okay.
Lista.
the lista. The girl who's also talagang fan of
Yeah.
rock said, "Buddy, right when you left, Keith and Ron showed up."
Oh my god. Oh my god.
Sabi niya, "That round of drinks that you bought, the
Was for
first
them.
round was for them."
Oh shit.
So I'm like,
Okay, audience, we're talking about Keith Richards and Ronnie Wood of the
Yeah.
Rolling Stones. Okay. Okay.
so I'm like, okay.
Oh my god. That's a cool story, man. So, okay, so you got the autograph of Roger Taylor and you bought drinks for Roger Taylor, Keith Richards, and Ronnie Wood. Come on. Saan ka pa, pare? Saan ka pa?
And, yeah, pero I don't have, yun na nga, like I said, wala kaming cameras, walang,
That's okay, man. I believe you, pare. I mean, that you
okay
can't
lang.
make that shit up, dude. You can't. You know. So anyway, let's land this plane and let's talk about football for a while because
Okay.
I'm a big football fan too. But
Oh,
we have very different teams. I'm a Barcelona fan, of course,
okay.
and you are a Manchester United fan.
Yes. Now,
And mm,
now, um, first and foremost, I'm really a football fan.
you're right.
Now, the Manchester United thing happened much, much later on.
Uh-huh.
My growing up years, uh, playing football, I started playing football around 5, 6 years old. In my early 12, 13 years old, my heroes were the players of the 70s, So I'm
Of
talking
course,
about
yeah.
Johan Cruyff.
Johan Cruyff, yeah.
Right? So Johan Cruyff is a Barcelona legend.
Right.
He was a big player for Barcelona, and he basically invented the tiki
The,
taka of Barcelona that was perfected by the
by Pep.
Barcelona team of the early 2000s.
Yeah.
Messi and Xavi and
Xavi,
Iniesta and those guys.
Iniesta, and oh my God.
So that system was put in place and invented by Johan Cruyff.
Yeah, what did he
So
call it? Total football there.
total football. That is
Yeah.
correct. So Johan, he was one of my heroes. Johan Cruyff George Best was also one of my heroes. Of course, Pelé
Mm-hmm.
was one of my heroes. It wasn't until and I remember I had a football tactics, skills and tactics book with
Mm.
pictures that my
Mm-hmm.
dad bought my brother and for my brother and me. And it was a book from England. And all the syempre pictures, may mga diagrams, may mga models, no? May mga
Right.
pictures. And they were all Man United players.
Oh,
It
okay.
was Dennis Law and all these guys, all from
Uh-huh.
Manchester United. So parang and I memorized that book.
Oh, okay. So
I
you
knew
learned
it
the
was
Manchester United style.
well, it was
I guess
a
was it a
basics. It was football
okay,
basics.
basics. That's a
You know,
just
right,
general
right. So how to
fundamentals.
trap,
Yeah.
Drills and things like that.
Okay, okay.
But it wasn't until early '92, all right, when the creation of the Premier League happened.
Mm.
I was working with this Irish guy who was a big Man United fan,
Mm-hmm.
and he invited me to the pub one day. He goes, "Oh, there's a game. It's FA Cup final, something."
Mm. Yeah.
And I said, "Sure." 6 o'clock in the morning, he said he gave me the address. He goes, "Go to this pub. I'll meet you there at 6 a.m." 6 a.m. at a pub?
6 a.m.
Closed. Yeah, because of
Okay.
the time difference.
Okay. Oh, right. Okay. Yeah. Right.
So
Right. Right.
this in LA.
Oh, you okay? Okay. Okay. Yeah.
So I go to the club. I go to the pub at 6 a.m. Pare, everyone that's there has been there all night. Alam
And
mo
they're
naman,
all
LA, 2 o'clock ang closing time, di ba?
yeah. So they're like, tangina,
Last call
tuloy-tuloy
is
na
2
to.
o'clock.
Yeah.
But then, if they close the door and pretend to be closed,
Oh, they can just stay in there. Yeah.
they can just stay in there. So
Yeah.
they're drinking all night.
Oh my
So I
God.
started going to matches, and I started following Man United religiously since '92. Yeah,
Okay.
but I have I don't. Well, I guess there are teams that I dislike.
Mm.
But
What teams are those?
huh?
What teams are those that you dislike?
Oh, Liverpool.
Oh shit! I like Liverpool, dude. I don't know. For me, Liverpool, they seem like underdogs all the time. That's why I don't know.
Well,
What do you
because
think?
they were
Because
such a powerhouse in the 80s.
uh-huh. Right,
They were
right.
such a
With
powerhouse
Gerard,
in the
yeah.
80s. Liverpool in the 80s is what Man United was in the 90s.
Ah, okay.
It's like everybody,
When
when you're winning,
Ronaldo
everybody hates you.
yeah. Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Kind of thing. But the reason I don't like Liverpool is because I'm a United supporter.
Right. It's
That's
just
it.
natural.
That's yeah, it's just natural. But when it comes to other countries,
Mm.
like I'm really like, do I pick Barca over Real Madrid or things like
Mm.
that? It doesn't. Of course,
It,
when
it
Cristiano
doesn't
was
matter,
with
yeah.
Real Madrid, I liked Real Madrid because I'm a big Cristiano fan.
Uh-huh. So
So
you must be fucking happy that he's in back in Man U.
yes, but we're not doing
But
so well. So
yeah,
that's
yeah, you guys are they are
struggling.
struggling. Yeah.
Yeah, and
And
who knows
it's
why with that kind of a team? How do you struggle?
I know, I mean it's like how do you no, the thing is how do you coach all those guys? It's like it's like if you were coaching the fucking Beatles, the Stones, and the Beach Boys at the same time. It's like how the fuck, right?
Yeah,
How do how do you tell these guys you're doing it wrong and you're doing it wrong and you are doing it the worst? You know how do you do that? You know how do you tell these guys?
because and there's the whole
You know.
underlying thing also of the way their agent crafted
Mm,
their contract, and
mm-hmm, mm.
if they reach the playoff, well, not playoffs, but you know what I mean. If they reach the
Yeah, bonuses
semifinals,
and all of these things. Yeah.
making them bonus and money. So there's all these little things that come into play as opposed to before this is your wage for the week and that's it.
Yeah.
We win. If
Yeah,
we lose,
exactly. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's
this.
I understand it more now because I play FIFA on PlayStation.
Okay.
And when you play career mode, you can play either as a player, you start off as an amateur and you work your way up. You know,
Okay.
you join teams, you get traded, whatever, you know what players do, or you can do the manager thing. So I do the manager career, and you have to do the whatever they're doing. You trade players,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
decide if you want this player to have a release clause or not, or something,
Right.
it's
Yep.
and
Yeah. It's
you
really
learn the whole thing, and you're like, holy
difficult.
shit. And then there's these, and then when you negotiate with the player, the agent will come out and say, okay, we want after 15 appearances fucking $5 million. I'm like, dude, and then you're like, fuck you, and then of course you negotiate. You're like, tangina mo pare, 20 appearances, then I'll give you $3 million or something. So you learn a lot by just playing the video game,
Yeah.
and yeah, and it's I liked Manchester United in the 90s when it was still Scholes and even
Oh yeah.
when Cristiano
He's my
wasn't there
favorite.
yet. Right before
Yeah, he's
Cristiano
my favorite. Scholes is
joined,
my favorite. And
Scholes,
Giggs.
Ryan
Yeah,
Giggs,
Scholes and
yeah,
Giggs and yeah, David Beckham, Eric Cantona.
yeah. There you go, man. That team,
Yeah.
that was like that was because in the Philippines you could hardly get those games, right? You could, during the World Cup, you'd have to go to the international restaurants to get their cable and
Right.
watch, right?
Yep.
And
Yep.
then
Yep. Yep.
so I only started really watching games here in the States, and then in the mid 2000s, they weren't even playing it like they play now. It's like you can just find football everywhere here in the States now.
Yeah.
But 15 years ago, it was still hard. It was
Wow.
you could watch a Barca game, Real, all the popular teams, but you couldn't watch league games. You couldn't watch the other teams play. The 3, 4, 5 ranked teams in the leagues.
Right.
So
Yeah, because yeah,
yeah, because the
they all pretty
American
much yeah.
yeah,
It
because
was
the
very
American
difficult. Yeah,
audience
I know what
was
you mean.
yeah. But now, I mean, when you watch an MLS game on TV, especially in Seattle
Sounders.
Sounders, and then and the fucking the and then fucking Portland. I mean, and then the big stadium in Atlanta. I mean, and it's filled. These stadiums are filled up. I'm
Yeah.
like, wow! It's like it's great that there's fucking football here in America, and then people are actually going there because they know the culture of football. The chanting, and then even here in LA. Oh my God! When you watch an LAFC game on TV
Against Galaxy.
against Galaxy or any team, because LA, it's all Mexicans here, man.
Yeah.
So they
Yeah.
fucking
Yep.
their whole pep squad on that one goal, the whole 90 minutes of playtime, they're just freaking out. Just freaking out. And of course they're LA, man. So these people are tough people, man. They're from LA, They're not from Orange County. They're from LA, and so and they're all in. The colors of LAFC are black, so it's like it's
Right.
like it's like the Raiders, but a soccer team, you know. So yeah, I love football, man. So what
Yeah. I
position
mean,
did you play?
I remember in '94, the World Cup was in LA, was in the
Yeah,
United States. So I
shit.
watched 5 games, and I watched the famous game of USA against Colombia.
Is that the one with Valderrama?
Valderrama played, yes, Valderrama
Yeah.
played, but that was the game where the oh my God, what's his name? Escobar, Andres Escobar scored an own goal,
Oh, and then
and
Pablo
then when he
Escobar
went
had him
home back to
killed.
Colombia, he got killed. He was killed for that
Yeah. Oh
because
shit.
that goal basically sealed the fate of Colombia. They lost and they went out. They
Was
went
that the
out.
still was that still the round of 16?
No, opening round pa. Knockout.
Oh, open.
It wasn't a knockout stage yet. It was group stage.
Oh, the
As
group
in round
stage.
robin. You played all four
Right.
teams,
Yeah.
right? And the top two of your group
Go to the
moved
16.
on
Yeah.
to the round of 16.
Yeah.
And had they tied the US, they would have gone through.
Oh
But
my
because of
god.
that goal, talo sila 2-1.
Shit.
They went home. And he walked out of a
Is it
restaurant and was shotgun.
Oh my god. Was it Pablo Escobar that ordered it, or was it just a general fucking
I
fuck
don't
this
know.
guy, man?
I
You
don't
know?
know. But in betting is really
Oh
heavy.
yeah, that's the one. That's the one.
Yep. So I'm
Yeah.
sure they said USA,
Yeah.
we can beat them.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, what I'm excited for is that, of course, next year is the World Cup in Qatar, but the next
Right.
World Cup is gonna be here in North America, man. Canada,
That'll be fun.
US, and Mexico. Pare.
Canada, US, and Mexico.
Yes, North America, the whole North America,
Wow.
dude. Dude, it's gonna be wild. It's gonna be fucking wild. Hopefully, by that time, wala nang COVID. Sana naman.
Sana. But
In 8 years, sana wala nang COVID.
the
Putang ina.
in '94 when the World Cup was in the US,
Mm.
so a lot of the games there were games in San Francisco, there were games in LA, all the cities that had a major uh, arena for
Mm.
football. So
Mhm.
Florida, had New York, um, and the thing about it, the difference when you have the World Cup in the United States and when you have the World Cup in the other countries, it here in the US,
Mm.
it feels like the World Cup when you're in the stadium.
Right.
The moment you walk out of the stadium,
It's America again.
it's whatever it is, but it ends. When
Uh-huh.
you're in Europe and it's the
Oh
World Cup,
yeah.
it's the World Cup anywhere and everywhere you go.
Yeah. Yeah. Because
You know
I
what I
know,
mean?
I know, yeah, I know what you mean,
It's
because my
so different.
brother-in-law, My brother-in-law, the last World Cup, he went to Russia with his cousin, and and they were in St. Petersburg Square, where the
Yeah.
Kremlin building is, and
Yeah.
that fucking place was just jam packed with people. There was no space. Sardines. Imagine that fucking whole
Yeah.
space is filled with
Grabe.
people, and every day, and then of course at night people will go home. But during the day, it's just everyone's out. I'm like, wow, pare, bang klase. So that's why.
That'll be fun. I'll try to be here for that.
Oh, you gotta, man, you gotta,
Yeah.
because the thing is, then you can plan your thing where, okay, we'll watch this, whoever country you're, let's say Spain, because I support Spain when it's
Right. Right.
international
Right.
football. If they're playing in Montreal, oh, let's go to Montreal. If they're playing in Mexico City,
Can
fuck,
you
let's go to
imagine how much the
Mexico.
tickets are? Can you imagine how much the tickets are going to
Oh,
be?
I can imagine. Yeah, yeah, grabe.
Unbelievable.
Unbelievable. It's gonna be unbelievable, man. But
Grabe.
and then the thing is, it's 8 years into the future, and of
Yeah.
course, all these guys, Ronaldo, Messi, they're all
Wala na.
gone by that time.
Gone.
Wala na. They'll be gone in 4 years. I
Yeah.
mean, gone playing. So it's
Yeah.
just it's just
This is their last World Cup.
this is their last World Cup for sure. Yeah. So it would be so interesting to see who'd be the stars. Like if the French guy Mbappe would be much older then, if he's still
Yeah.
playing,
He
or,
should.
or
He should be.
yeah,
He should be the guy to watch. Then.
yeah. Yeah, him, right? And that guy from fucking that Swedish guy, fucking Erling Haaland.
Haaland.
Have you seen this
Erling
guy?
Haaland. Yeah.
Oh, dude.
Young guys. Young guys.
You're very young guys, and my gosh, I mean, just fucking monsters. That Erling Haaland is a fucking monster, man. There's this one footage of him, I think against I forget which team, but he was running down, trying to. There was a fast break, and then a guy who was near him tried to run with him and tried to grab him like that, pull him up. And Haaland just fucking does that, and the guy rolls over twice. Pa, boom, boom. It's like a fucking rag doll. I'm like, damn, this guy, pare. So it's gonna be
Grabe.
great, man. Yeah.
Grabe. Pero kami in the Philippines naman,
Mm.
over the last maybe 5 to 7 years, the music scene has gotten a lot healthier.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Lalo na punk, the underground scene. We have this place in QC called Moe's,
Mhm.
where they
Wait, what's it called? Moe's?
Moe's. MOES.
MOES. Okay.
MOES or MOS? Moe's, as in Larry, Curly, and Moe.
Okay. MOES. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's in QC. It's underneath Kowloon. Small place, like 50 people, 50 to 60 people.
Wait, where
Sobrang
where
puno na.
QC? QC is fucking as big as LA.
I'll have to search.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay,
but
okay.
it's in QC.
Okay.
A lot of that's where we hold a lot of gigs now. And it's every Saturday.
Mhm.
Syempre this is pre-pandemic, no.
Right.
A lot of new bands are up and playing, and since the pandemic happened, all these bands are recording and releasing new material.
Mm.
So we released an album in 2018, and we hope to do one this year.
Betrayed.
Yeah.
Oh wow. Is it on
This year.
Spotify? That album?
No, it's on what's the other one?
Apple?
What's the other one? No,
Uh,
it's another
uh,
platform.
Pandora?
No.
No.
What's it called?
Spotify, TikTok,
Hold on.
Apple Music,
No.
Friendster.
No. It's on. My God, how do I not know? How do I not remember?
How many songs are there?
No, we have the whole album there.
No, that's why. How many songs in the album?
Um, 12? 12 or 13, something like that.
And what's the vibe? Is it like chugging punk rock?
Oh yeah, it's old school.
Nice.
It's old school punk. Yeah,
It's the way, man.
I'll text it to you. How I can't remember. Not it's not bands in town. It's oh God, what's it called?
Oh, wait a minute.
Wait,
SoundCloud? No.
no.
What's the album called? What's the title?
It's called. Um, Wait. Yeah. How come- I know my son has one here somewhere.
Well,
Um,
anyway, just text all that info
my
to me.
God, I can't hear brain fart.
Yeah.
Hold on, hold on. I'm searching on my phone.
hmm Well, while you're searching,
Yes, go
check
on.
out that documentary, a band called Death. I think I know you're gonna like it, man, because it's such a cool story and very interesting. Because if it weren't for that documentary, we wouldn't even know. And the songs are really good because it's also it's like, wow, it's like black guys playing punk rock. Wow, it's like, and it's
Yeah,
7 years before Bad Brains, you know.
right.
So it's really interesting. You should check it out. Yeah, and they have an album too. It's yeah, Death. There's a metal band called there's a death metal band called Death. So you don't get confused with the two. Yeah.
Um, no, I'm trying to think of the title of the album. My God, I can't find it.
Uh
The
oh.
title is called um Why Should Everything Involve Politics?
Oh. Well, that's a nice title.
Yeah, why should everything involve politics? Because it's a line of one of the songs that I wrote.
hmm
The gist of the song is about that life is really very simple.
hmm
You feed the hungry and care for the sick,
hmm
and it should be as simple as that. Why should everything involve politics?
Exactly.
Diba? Para
Yes.
bang you're just gonna feed the poor, mangungurakot ka pa. You're just gonna
Just
feed the sick, kikita ka pa
just
sa gamot.
the exact yeah. Just do it. Just
I mean,
just do something good.
just
And
feed the hungry and cure the sick. It's as simple as that. Uh, so that's one aspect, right?
mm-hmm.
Everywhere we go in our work, di ba?
mm,
There's ganyan. There's politics. You have to be nice to ganyan, ganyan. Ano nangyari sa'yo? Pare,
yeah, dude.
napolitika ako rito eh. Ayoko
Yeah.
na. So why? What for? Why can't you just? Why can't we just go to work, do what we need to do, and
And then go home.
then go home? Why
Yeah.
is why is always why is there politics involved?
Exactly, man. That's
Heck,
why,
it's what makes it's what complicates everything.
oh my God.
Because and what complicates everything really is motive. Why do people have and it's greed.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
It's very true because these days, personally speaking, I'm a very trusting person in general, but
Pareho tayo.
in recent times, in COVID times, I would specifically say COVID times because the fucking whole world gone crazy during COVID, and
Yep.
especially here in America, pare, because I'm sure you've lived here and you know how everyone is just outspoken, pare. Everyone just
Yeah.
speaks their mind here, and even if they're what they're talking about is fucking stupid ass shit, they'll still say it because they're Americans. That's the American way. That's the American way. Um, so man, I mean, those kinds of Americans have really tested my fucking my resolve in that aspect of trusting of openly being just trusting to everyone, which I know in in my soul is that
Right.
I have to give the benefit of the doubt to
Correct.
everybody
Correct. I believe there's good in
until
everyone.
yeah until you see na puta, this woman or this guy is a fucking asshole, then fuck you. Then kana
Right.
I'm not gonna cuss you out. I'm not gonna do anything bad to you, but just be on your way and I'll be on my way.
Correct.
And so yeah, man. I mean that's been tested during these times and until now because ang daming pasaway pare dito and around the world.
Yeah.
And now of course you see it with on the internet. You see the same thing. It's not just in America. Yeah, in Germany they have mga pasaway din doon. you know.
Grabe
So
yung spikes in Germany.
yeah, because of that, man. Ang daming pasaway doon.
Yep.
So you're like tang ina naman pa. I mean, why can't we just fucking you know and 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 I right now I'm on YouTube and I just put these random videos of city tours of these guys just walking around thing. And right now it's in Tokyo. In Tokyo. He's walking around Tokyo. Dude, every single person I'm seeing on the videos in the video is wearing a fucking mask. Every single one. It's like parang why do you have to drag politics into this? Which
Yeah.
Americans do. They have to.
Yeah.
They made the fucking mask political. They made the vaccines political. I'm like, come
Yeah.
on, ano ba
Hindi mo
to,
kailangan eh.
pare?
Yeah. Hindi
We're
kailangan.
wasting. We are wasting fucking time here with all this
Yep.
bullshit, with all this
Yep.
political bullshit that doesn't have anything to do with the vaccines or the mask. It's a health issue. Health has nothing to do with politics. Anyway, but that's another whole fucking baul to make halongkat.
Oh,
yeah.
tell me about it. Grabe yan.
Yeah. So anyway, we reached the 3 hour mark, dude. So you're up there with Sampaguita, pare. I love it. I love it.
I hope you got all the info or
Bro,
answered all your
dude,
questions. I answered all your
dude.
questions.
Dude, it was awesome, man. It was awesome because of course I'm the host of the show, so I know all these interviews. I've heard all of these stories, and you just adding some more is just putting more color into it. It's more color. It started out with just sketches with Jun Lupito describing what happened here, and then when Sampaguita came in, she put a little color here, and then when fucking you know Chikoy puts more color and Bobby, and then you're putting more color, and it's like it's becoming more real to me as I go.
Yeah.
And
In
it's
the
awesome.
early days, the the main bands that would play would be Woods, us, Jerks, um, Urban Bandits, and the Zoo.
And Zoo.
So yeah, we were the ones that were constantly playing. And us being like the new ones, the newbies, because Jerks ang nauna eh.
Yeah.
And then Zoo, and then Urban Bandits was even older. Was ahead of us because they were college at first.
Okay.
They're a band called College, which evolved into Urban Bandits, and then us. So kami parang bago kami.
Mm.
Which in terms of sound or style, it was parang different also because kami rin parang hardcore.
Yeah.
Kami yung first band that introduced hardcore into the punk scene. Parang ganun.
Right.
Prior to us, it was all Ramones, Pistols, and Clash kind of
Right.
a
Wait, I
thing.
have a question before we go. Because the Ramones now are not popular in the Philippines at all. I don't know
They're
why,
not popular in a lot of places.
but
you
were
know.
they popular in during that era? Were they actually popular or no? Or were just the
Where in
musicians that?
Manila?
Yeah,
In Manila?
yeah. I mean,
Yeah,
yeah. Oh, they were actually
yeah, yeah.
okay.
They're big. I mean, if you look at if you look at if a couple of Ramones documentaries and stuff, they were huge in Brazil,
Mm-hmm.
Argentina.
Mm-hmm.
As in they would play the Maracana Stadium in Brazil. There's 200,000 people
Yeah,
that would pack
and then
that
come back to
stadium
the
to watch
states
the
and it's
Ramones.
CBGB.
But then, and then they'd come home and play at CBGBs, which is like,
Yeah,
a closet compared to
yeah. It's like Merrick's.
exactly, di
Yeah.
ba? Mas maganda pa ang banyo sa Merix.
Oh my God. So did you?
I remember, I remember
You went?
watching.
You've been to CBGB, no? I'm sure, no?
Yeah, I remember watching so many
Yeah.
bands there. Yeah, I watched
Wow.
7 Seconds there and so many.
Shit, man. Well, before we go, I wanna say that all those bands you mentioned, Woods, Jerks, Betrayed, who's the other one?
Oh, Urban Bandits.
Urban Bandits,
Yeah, and
and
The Zoo.
Zoo, and then all those other bands that came after, maybe like Private Stock, and
Yeah,
then Ethnic Faces. I have to say that you guys, I don't know who else I can interview from that scene, but I'm gonna research, no? Maybe the other guys from Ethnic Faces and stuff. But your era, it's just so clear to me now that your era, you guys, that group of bands, you deserve your own recognition of that era because there was nothing else really happening in that era in the Philippines. All the
no,
classic
nothing.
rock guys were not making albums anymore. So you guys really picked up the fucking flame and ran with it until well, of course, in '85 when you left. I mean, the dawn was starting to happen already. Eddie
Right,
Diaz was already writing with
correct.
that other guy, your friend, no? So you guys are the bridge from the Pinoy Rock, the original Pinoy Rock guys, into the '80s and then into us in our era in the '90s.
Right. It's so funny that you mentioned that because
Mm.
someone told me recently na parang when you look at Pinoy rock history, parang there's the whole uh that's very documented, no? The whole Bosio and Pepe,
Mm.
right? And Sila
Mm-hmm.
Wally and all of that's
Silawali.
really well documented. Even like I mentioned, Hot Dog, the early
Mm.
70s, 73, all of that, all of up to like 75, 77. And then there's like a blank,
Yeah.
right? And that blank is filled with like, because all the musicians moved to Olongapo to play at 100%,
Right.
which I experienced because I was always in Olongapo because I had cousins
Yeah.
that were on base.
See, and that's
Um,
another connector because Sampaguita did a stint there in Olongapo
that's
too.
right. That's where I met Sam. Yeah,
Yeah, that was her
in
club,
Olongapo,
100%.
100%,
Yeah.
100%. Yeah,
Shit, right.
the Jerks played there also.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
And you interviewed Gary, right?
Gary.
Perez.
Not yet. No, not yet. Not yet.
Okay,
He's up next.
Gary
He's next.
Perez. Gary Perez
Mm.
was in a band called Gary Perez and the Defenders.
Wow. What a cool name.
Okay,
What a cool name,
his
man.
singer,
Uh-huh.
Was Gina Warren, who was his wife, who's my cousin.
Mhm. Oh, okay. Wow. Like, these guys are all
Yeah.
connected, man.
So this is in Olongapo.
Yeah.
This is in Olongapo. Yeah, so she would do Pretenders and things like that, and
Yeah, yep. That's the one.
I mean Gary was on fire there. Anyway,
Wow,
so
shit.
so there's no documentation of that whole era of our part,
Yes.
because no albums released. You know what I mean? There's no oh, this is from that era. There's none of
Yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah. Yeah,
And
yeah.
then
There's
and
mm,
then it jumps to late 80s na.
yeah, the Dawn. And they have
Late 80s na,
albums. Yeah.
the Dawn. They made albums. So
Yeah.
there's a representation of that era of that. And then
Yeah.
biglang E-heads na, and then kayo na.
Wow. See, that's why. That's why I want.
So Blanco.
That's why I've interviewed Bobby, you, and Chikoy so far because no one else knows about it. And you know what? If it weren't for that book of Eric Caruncho, I would not know because that was the one talaga. Because that's where I first saw your picture with your tongue out, like Gene Simmons. That's where I first saw the sign of Katrina's.
Yeah.
You know, the sign with this with the and in the picture there was a punk rocker in the picture with the sign. You
Right.
know, and then there were pictures of the guys, the people in the audience, guys and girls,
You
who
want to
were
hear
in their fucking
funny
huh?
story?
Mm,
I have pictures which Didits took of us at Katrina's,
uh-huh.
and in the audience, slam dancing is Junboy.
Oh, really?
Yep.
Oh,
Ang
dude.
dami kong pictures ganyan, si Junboy nandun. Si Junboy, oh, nandun na naman, oh.
Oh, wow.
So,
Oh,
yeah,
that's
si
another
Junboy.
guy I gotta interview. I forgot about him.
Yeah,
Junboy yan.
Junboy.
Oh, shit. Now that you've mentioned that shit, now I have a fucking reason to interview
Actually,
Junboy.
yeah, it would be because then I want to know what his perspective is,
Perspective.
or his experience. Because my experience is someone that was playing.
Yes. Yes.
He will be someone that would be down there. Our
Yes.
last gig at Katrina's,
Mm.
they didn't let us off the stage. We had
Wow.
we had we had to do the set over. We didn't know any more songs. We played for like 45. No, we played for like an hour 20,
Uh-huh.
and we said that's it. We're gonna go home. So they said no, no, no. So we played the last song. We played it again, and they still didn't want to let us off. So we were
He's played the last song again.
yeah, played it again.
Wow.
So
Oh man, I mean, come on, that's rock and roll, man. Those are rock and roll stories, man. Those are legend
but
stories. It's like the story of when the Ramones played in fucking in London for the first time, and everyone in the audience was the members of the Pistols and the Clash and the Damned. You know, after that's the story. After they saw the Ramones, they all formed those bands. You know,
that's
it's
right.
like so
That's
in
right.
like I said, the
That's right.
counterpart of that in the Philippines would be June Boy in the audience watching you.
Oh nga, no.
And that, di ba? It's the same
Oh
thing.
nga, no. That's right.
And then he goes on to form the Dawn. You
That's
know,
right. That's funny. That's right.
dude, I'm telling you, man, it's the Filipino rock history, the Pinoy rock history,
Write
which
a book.
encompasses everything, pare. It's
Write a
well,
book.
I can't write. I am a writer, but books are just those are too heavy for me. That's why I
Audiobook.
do That's why the podcast is the best for me, you know, because I can go straight to the source and not forget anything and you know
Record everything.
yeah. But
Cool.
you know, I just wanted to acknowledge that you guys have played a very fucking important part in this history
Thanks. I
of
mean,
our
we
culture, man.
didn't know
Yeah.
it at the time.
No, yeah.
But
Well, we usually don't. I mean, I didn't know when I was playing. It's like only
yeah.
after the fact, you know. When you look back, you're like, holy shit, you know. We did
I mean,
something pretty
grabe, the
cool.
scene that you guys were that you guys did. Grabe.
I
I
mean,
mean, so many
but you know
bands.
what? But you know what? Thinking about it now, with all these things that I've learned from all these interviews, is that scene would have never happened if it weren't for you guys, because you guys were the first ones. It was already the like Brave New World. It was the first. It was the Brave New World. You guys were the first batch of the Brave New World, because before that it was Stevie Wonder, uh,
Yeah.
Led Zeppelin,
Yeah.
Leonard Skinner, that kind, long hair, bell bottoms. disco.
Yeah.
From your time to our time, it was all fucking punk rock, new wave, grunge,
Yeah.
fucking Guns N' Roses, that kind of,
Yeah.
aggressive. It just gets more. So by the time it reaches our era, you have bands like Metallica and Slayer
Yeah.
who who are just trying to play like the Ramones, basically. Really. No, because yun yung idol nila eh.
Yeah.
So it's a combination of Motorhead and the Ramones and the Sex
Yeah.
Pistols. That's what those bands are,
Yeah.
Metallica and Slayer and Megadeth. That's what basically they are. So you guys are the first batch of that brave new world that just it just became more and more natural when the Dawn did it with the Ultra Storms. People came out and supported those big concerts, and then until now, until Pop SummerSlam, and
Yeah.
SummerSlam is
Yeah.
regarded as one of the big festivals of the world now,
Yeah.
up there with
Yeah.
Lollapalooza. Grabe.
Yeah.
And you guys, I think, in my opinion, it started in the late 70s, early 80s in Pasay with you guys. Now that I've heard all these stories, I can confidently say that it started there. Na naging Pinoy Rock was cool, but this is when Pinoy Rock became fucking astig. This is when it became astig. Not just cool, but talagang astig. Na talagang badass, You guys started. So thank you for
Are
that,
you
man.
gonna, di ba, I saw that Wolfgang and Razorback are playing in LA. Are you
Oh,
playing with them?
I don't no. I'm not in Wolfgang anymore. I'm officially
No,
not
but
in
your
Wolfgang
band,
anymore, so
would your band play or open for them or something?
oh, I don't know. I don't know what's happening with that. I mean, with this fucking Omicron, everything's fucking going back to shit again.
That's
So
true.
it
Oh no,
might not even happen
I
again,
saw something. I saw something on Facebook that they were
No, yeah. They have a
going on
plan.
tour.
But the thing is, what I gathered from that thing, if you see the poster again, there's some fine print that says for sponsorship opportunities, call this. So that tells me that
Wala pa.
it's like it's more of a it's more of like a common for financial whatever rather than okay, the show is on. You know what I
In other
mean?
words, if we have money, we'll be there.
No, it's like more of like this is a show that the both bands have agreed on, but we need financial support. So if you're
Right.
willing, call this number. There, that's the stage of that.
Ah, okay. In other words,
That's
okay.
what I've got. That's what
In
I
other
got
words,
from the
we have
poster.
no we have no airfare yet.
Yeah, it's like that. It's like crowdfunding kind of
Right.
thing.
Right. Right. Right.
So I don't know. If it happens, then great. Yeah, why not? So anyway, buddy Trinidad, thank you very much, man.
Thank you
I
so much,
really,
Wolf.
really appreciate this, man.
Sure.
It's like
Anytime.
I said, you're
I'll send
adding
you those
more.
pictures.
Yeah, please, and check out that a band called Death. You'd like it, man.
I
That's
will.
for you.
I
Yeah,
will.
for sure. All right, thanks, man. I'll
Thanks
see
so
you
much.
soon, bud. All right, have a safe trip
Good
back
night.
home when it happens.
All right. Take it
All right,
easy.
good night.